Okay, Eric, I don't want this to go the same way it did with Oh Holy Night, okay? So let's see if we can step it up this time, okay?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mackey, I would definitely do a better job.
I'm not really sure if I believe you, but go ahead. Okay.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last, whatever it is.
Eric, get this right. This is important, okay?
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so goodly and dreamy. When the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to that night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I gotta say, Eric, that was actually a dramatic improvement. You missed a bunch, but okay, it wasn't horrible.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mackey. Can I get cheesy poofs now?
Okay.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Now, ascend, my son.
All right, folks, we are here and we are ready to rumble with the worst episode of The Acolyte. And my, oh my, it may be the worst episode of anything. I don't know, guys. We're going to talk about it, folks. It's going to be a big show tonight. Lots of people hopping on the panel. More than 400 of you already in the audience out there as we get ready to start. And yes, a little bit of a different intro today because we are closing in on Independence Day here in North America, here in the United States of the USA. And we are streaming to you. Huh? Yes, we're streaming to you live from somewhere sunny USA, but the sun is down, the stars are out, and Star Wars is in a really, really bad place after tonight. Jonas, it's hard to describe what we watched because there wasn't much to watch. So
no, there wasn't. And yet they still made it worse in so many ways, both on paper and in performance. It was a waste of time. Where do you want to start?
Well,
it's
folks,
like
how
eating,
about this?
It's like eating rotten cotton candy, and there's like a whole big bag of it.
How about this, Jonas? Anyone involved in this episode should never make another show again. How's that?
The special effects people were okay.
No, the CGI is terrible.
There was
terrible.
Some rodents on the beach that I thought they did a decent job of that, but that was the only thing good. And I mean, really, you're talking. Okay, I need to emphasize this to everyone. I rated last episode a 7 because things happened. It was so bad. It was fun for me, and fun in like a Schadenfreude kind of way. Like I'm laughing at them at how serious that they're taking some of this stuff. This was just boring. This was so boring. By the way, somebody gets naked in this episode. Still boring.
We know where the intimacy coordinator was now. Yes, Lauren, that's right. The Sith man, Smilo Ren, gets naked and takes a bath on a planet that is literally called Unknown Planet. Oh, by the way, I just got the joke tonight. Kofar. It's go far with a K instead of a G. But
what did the Unknown Planet look like?
Octo.
Yep. And it Yeah, it's random generic Octo again, and Smilo Ren gets naked. By the way, there's no reason for him to take Osha.
For those of you
twin
who
to this
don't know what
planet.
Octo is the planet that Luke is on that is supposedly very important to
Jake.
the Jedi Order
Jake.
in The Last Jedi.
Was it
Jake's
actually Octo, or are you
No,
saying that just as
No,
generic
it just
planet?
looked like Octo. It looked like a European small island in Ireland. And they also had violins playing a little bit in there, so it did kind of have an Irish melancholy feel to it, more than Octo did. But it actually just looked like not even Space Ireland, because it's low tech when you get there. Although there are guardrails up when she walks out of the cave for some stupid reason.
So let's
Wait a minute. Who walks out of the cave? Was it Osha?
Bad twin.
Yes, it is good.
Wait,
No,
no,
it's
no,
good
it's
twin.
good. It's good twin. Good twin wearing bad twin's clothes.
All right, which one is the bad twin? Which one is the good twin? Because I don't know.
Good twin is Osha. Bad twin is May.
And
So it was not Osha then?
Good twin
It
went
was
with
Osha.
Chimere.
It was Osha. So
Because
Osha
bad
had
twin-
guardrails for the first time in Star Wars.
right, but it's not even in a
Well
place
played, well played.
where it's not even that. I just got that. It's not even guardrails in a place where she could fall. There's literally just rails there for no reason.
All right, well, joining us to help us parse out what is the most dull, boring, yet still canon-breaking piece of drivel I think we've ever had to suffer through. And by the way, folks, this is the worst episode. It's the worst episode. It has to be.
Agreed.
Please welcome to the show yet again for the root canal that is the Acolyte, John Trent. John Trent, welcome back, sir.
Good to be back. Yeah, this show can be described in one word: boring.
So boring.
And also, John, your mic's a little low, but as you fix that, we've got another guest joining in, folks, as this party ramps up. We are celebrating the most boring thing you have ever seen. It's like throwing a party for dental floss, but dental floss has more character than this. Please welcome to someone who has plenty of character, and that is Culture Casino. Welcome, sir. Culture, you are muted, and yet you are still more interesting than this episode.
Wow, you took the words right out of my mouth, bro.
That wouldn't be hard. It was funny because I was messaging with Jonas. I'm like, wow, this is bad. And that's, I mean, look, it gets repetitive to say that 6 episodes in, but
but Culture, give it credit. Every episode is a different flavor of bad. I mean, that's impressive.
But I mean, boring. Look, you can say that about a lot of things. Boring isn't a good enough word. This is moribund. This is
they made the Carmen Sandiego games, right?
Yeah, no, it's just this is almost literally, death's door of boring. This is this is lacking all kinds of life, and for no other reason than there are epic amounts of time of silence with little happening, and I have to tell you, the rodent was less impressive than I expected on diagnosing that this was a
rodent.
This was a.
There's never a character that overachieves. We have come to the point now. Okay, so just to give people a taste of how stupid and zany this was.
Zany. We
have just experienced the sorrow of everyone dying, except no one cares and we don't care. But everyone died, and it's big time hurting soul, right? I mean, he is at the edge of a PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a close-up shot of the corpses, including wide-eyed, bug-eyed corpse Jackie. That's bizarre. A close-up of a corpse's face of a kid, and we get a look at Flashlight Boy, his corpse,
no decomposition whatsoever.
All of this. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, there's a joke to be made. I won't, but they're all. This is supposed to be just so profound, and then in the middle of all this, we get the stupid badger with zany antics of stomping the foot of Bad Twin and the droid squirting her with water and her squealing out like she's on a kid's cartoon, and has been hit in the face with green goo on Nickelodeon. I don't know what to make of this, except that none of these people should ever be allowed to touch entertainment again. Ever.
And except for that moment, the entire episode is that like sad violin kind of stuff.
I'm not sure
And-
this was made by humans. I can't understand how this feels like an alien that kind of sort of barely understood our emotions, attempted to make something.
This show was a $20 million waste of money. It was a complete
Absolutely.
episode, provided absolutely nothing.
That actually sounds accurate to
characters
me.
have
I think
any-
Leslye is an alien who doesn't understand our
But Lauren, this was it even 30 minutes long? It was very short.
38, and then 6 minutes of credits.
Did you
So,
watch
listen
the
to
intro
32.
bit? Okay.
There
No, I
is
did
not a
not.
single character who maintains their motivations from scene to scene.
No.
All right. So we have watched Bad
That's
Twin
3 in
run
a
the
row.
full gamut, every spectrum of what she might want to do with her future. She's done it. And Good Twin now is doing the same thing. So Good Twin, first of all, the evil Sith guy, Smilo Ren, has no reason whatsoever to take her to Sith Planet. There is no reason given. There is none that we can possibly come up with. But he takes her there. And then he just goes to take a bath for no reason and just leaves her there. And she just gets up and walks around the Octo Island. But guess what?
The
For no
timing on
reason
this has to
apparent,
be-
she decides to put on the helmet.
he has to have waited until she got up in order to do this as well, because she's following so closely behind him that it can't be accidental on anyone's part. It's so bizarre. Like could they not get a larger set or something on this very large island to at least have her see him from a distance and then follow? She's within earshot. If she broke wind, he would hear it. She's that close to him as she's following him on this planet. And yet he still takes off his clothes and gets in the water, and he's far away. She holds up the lightsaber and she says, "Stop where you are." He's a good like 40 feet away and buck naked in the water, and she tells him to freeze. Like, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. So this is why we've got the intimacy coordinator, because Sith Baddie had to take a bath.
Pro Show's going in new directions today.
I'm telling you, but he's got to take a bath, and we get a scene where she sees him naked. Right, that's a new Star Wars thing. He comes out full frontal. There's nothing shown on screen, but
when you say full frontal, the show.
I mean
doesn't
it.
have full
I mean, he's.
frontal.
Well, listen, they don't show it.
I'm assuming,
but she sees it.
can
He's
see
butt
everything,
naked
but
and walks
the
straight
audience
towards
doesn't
her.
see anything, thankfully. Star Wars.
but
Star Wars doesn't need nude scenes already. I mean, at least they didn't go that far. Other than it's ridiculous that you have a character somebody out in a kids franchise. Yeah, Quatrina VR right here. I thought all these shills called this a kids show.
They just did. In fact, in one of the things I just did a video on, which was the Sith is a bad word bologna sausage.
Oh, that.
Yeah, I was
Here's
like,
a kid's
look,
show, Jonas.
Yeah, look. I mean,
a kids show with nudity.
Nakey, Sithy, snaky. I don't know, but was not very excited about what was going on there. She seemingly was unfazed, but overall, that is the least offensive thing that was in this show, because every other thing about this was just insulting my intelligence. The storytelling when Vernestra shows up on planet I don't care.
Kofar.
Kofar.
Yeah.
It's Gofar, but with a k sound at the beginning.
Well,
Kofar.
You know what? At least they gave us the credit that they could say unknown planet wherever
so
that
stupid.
sea atoll was.
Culture,
they were on.
I'm just begging them. Can the next planet please? Can the next planet please be called Itche? Please just call it Itche, because that's where we are.
Latin for the win. But I just look in looking at it all. Look, anybody watching this has to be offended just because your intelligence is insulted. The pacing is terrible. If this was a film, I would brutalize it for the fact that it was this boring.
Listen, I don't even think I know they're required to say it. Like, I know that the Acolyte shills are not legit. I know that they have to say they like it. This is, I feel like CNN post-debate has got to be what people who like the Acolyte feel tonight, because how could you enjoy this? I don't know where you could derive any pleasure whatsoever from this episode. It's awful. It's awful in every possible way. Let's do the recap.
There's
Jonas,
more.
Just from a moral standpoint, he does invite her into the water with him naked. He says,
That's nice. He's a nice.
Yeah.
If you're not going to join me, may I get my clothes?
Right. So,
And by the way, while I get my clothes,
that's
can
where
I
we are in
stand
Star Wars.
completely nude in front of you? And geez, Louise, it's just so terrible. So anyway, we've got Sith love. We got to have the good twin is now, she's evil, and she's falling in love with Sith, and she's putting on the mask. But folks, it's a tradition now. So and by the way, I'll tell you all this before we get started with John Trent running the recap. I can tell that there is something wrong in Acolyte land, because I am watching Twitter closely. There is almost no response to this episode thus far. That is very different than what we have seen in the other episodes. And I think the lack of response speaks volumes that perhaps nobody enjoyed this. All right, let's go ahead.
Come
John.
on. There aren't people freaking out about the lightsaber whip. Oh my gosh, she killed
That was the stupid. Okay. We'll talk about it in a minute. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Yes.
You guys
You're
are
not going to like
saying
the
that
answer.
She puts on a mask at some point. I had thought that his helmet was destroyed. Is this a different mask? What is
He
it?
glued it back together.
He welds it
okay.
back together. Yeah.
He apparently has a vein of cortosis in the cave that he lives in.
Is that what that was?
So
That's
it's the same kind of thing as like the kintsugi that they did on Kylo Ren's mask?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, it looked like it was a very weird. I don't know, but
it was
did
two
look like
pieces put together. I mean,
fresh metal.
the two pieces fell apart, and then the two pieces got put back together.
All right.
It was
well,
And then he
Humpty
welded
Dumpty.
it.
Humpty
or something.
helmet. It was
And
Humpty,
and for
that
some
was-
reason, he took off part of his shirt while he was welding, but not the entire thing.
Well, you never want to set your cloak on fire.
Well, no, only the back. He like as if he was showing off his tramp stamp to the girl. Like it was as if she had the dialogue about him being stabbed in the back during the bath scene, where it would actually make sense for her to ask about the scars. Instead, they have him hold up the back of his shirt for no reason whatsoever, and then she asks about the scars.
So we have a number of people out there, I'll tell you this on Twitter, who are speculating that this island actually is Octo. So just putting that out there, there are some folks who think that legitimately the Acolyte is having Sith bad guy be on that island of Octo where Luke is. So I don't know, but maybe it is.
were there porgs?
No, there were elephant-nosed dodo birds.
Right.
Yep.
Something like a porg, but not a porg. You
Not
wouldn't.
anywhere close to a porg. It's like,
Maybe it's part of their evolutionary cycle. They go through an elephant-nosed dodo period.
Metamorphosis on the way.
When I say like a porg, I mean something that they would try to merchandise like a porg.
well, okay. It's like they could probably play their trunk if they had hands, but they don't have hands.
So
Well, on that note.
Max Rebo birds.
Yes, kind of.
That would
A
be
little bit,
cuter.
sort of.
All right, John. John, give us the recap. Walk us through what we were forced to watch.
All right, so it begins with Osho waking up in a cave that has a bunch of furnishings. She finds May's knives and clothes, and then she puts them on, and we are told that they are on an unknown planet. Cut to Sol and May. They are on their ship. Sol departs. Kofar attempts to contact Jedi. Somehow their communications are interrupted. Who knows why? Mainly because probably they have to create some kind of fake intrigue in order to do that, because their comms seemingly had no issues before, and now all of a sudden it's not working. No explanation as to why. And then the power keeps fluctuating on their ship too.
She also has the chance to kill him, but because he tells her to fly the ship, she has a sudden change and decides, no, this is really important. I'll fly the ship in space to nowhere instead of killing you now.
Yep, I had May approaches from behind with knife. Doesn't use it.
Yep, just no reason why.
Plot says so.
Plot says so.
As Pro mentioned earlier, Sol is then frustrated at the loss of the entire team. There's like a close zoom in on him being emotionally distraught. He's kind of pounding his hands on like this table. in frustration and agony. And then we cut to the Basil guy. There's like an entire scene of him literally taking the Pip robot and just putting it on a charger strip. Like that's it.
It's, by the way, the Pip robot is going to get worse. Lauren, we're going to do something in just a minute that you're going to lose your mind over.
Is that the same place where it's found later? Because it looked like it was a different place, but I don't know.
It was a different room, I think.
I have to
it was
tell
on
you,
the same charger.
I enjoyed that part because they used some really creative international charging ports. You know, because when you go to a foreign country, you have to have like an international charging thing to plug in.
I had multiple USB spots. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there was C, B, A. Just plug your robot into the right port.
And Culture is actually being serious. Like, there's multiple ports where you make sure that the Pip robot can fit onto the right one.
And this is all done silently.
Yes,
not a word of dialogue.
With former good music from other better Star Wars. So, yeah.
So then we have Osha. Cut back to Osha. Or Good Twin. She's following Chimera, Milo Ren. And we just talked about that. He wades into the water. He's naked. There's a bunch of like boring dialogue about Soul and her relationship with him, as well as the Jedi. And then he gets out and like walks away. Jonas kind of talked about the dialogue there. Didn't really make a lot of sense. And she's holding his lightsaber. He kind of just like walks past her, and she just holds on to it, I guess. We cut back to
she had a firm grasp on that saber. He did comment on her really stance, except her elbow needed to be higher. That's one of the
yes.
They really know lightsaber positioning after last week.
Yes. From there, we go back to Soul. He then hugs May. He says he will face the High Council to tell them everything. And then the power on the ship shuts down. This is something that they would use to basically not follow through with what the dialogue says they're going to do. So they can then change their motivation for whatever reason. And
she still doesn't kill him.
Yes. We then cut to Coruscant with Vernestra being informed of Soul's transmissions. And then she announces her plans to go to Kofar.
She also says she gets sick or something when she flies.
They make some dumb joke about.
Oh, that's so weird.
Being air sick. It was stupid.
He says you get.
Well played, Lauren.
He says you get air sick. She says no. I just find it disturbing.
So she's been told that everyone is dead, and it's jokey joke time. Like this episode, I'm telling you, it's not made by a human. No human would make this.
Lauren, let me ask you. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to ask you a question. You ask Lauren, then I get to ask you. Go.
Can they do comms in hyperspace?
Yes, actually. That was done in the Phantom Menace.
That's right.
But you don't usually see it in hyperspace, but it can be done. Yes.
All right. Culture.
There is a very inconvenient white guy in this show.
Yes.
He's an idiot. So it's fine for him to be there. He's an idiot.
Okay.
I thought he did a fine job doing whatever it was he does around there, which is walking in and informing her of the mission that she already knew about.
He did not sound like a Southerner. He
sounded British gay, not Southern.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, he was floaty.
I didn't feel like doing British gay.
Yeah, dude was floaty the whole time. I'm like, all right, well, there you go. Gayest Star Wars ever. Well done.
Gay Napoleon Dynamite. That's who that was.
So from there, we cut back to Smilo. He confirms that he actually was a Jedi. And then there's some like more like just I don't know.
Long time ago.
In a galaxy far. Anyway.
So this like 30-year-old guy says he was a Jedi like a really long time ago, indicating that he has somehow achieved a way to prolong his life. I guess there was an implication with that.
Did they give any indication of how old he's actually supposed to be?
Not yet.
No, they just make it seem like he's pretty old.
He's
Much
really
older
old.
than he appears.
Yes.
Yep.
Then we get like the supposed to be a comic relief scene. It's just cringe-inducing. Basil confronts May. He literally like just makes some like weird motions, like kick, punch, punch, and then he actually like goes and like grabs her leg, and then she just kicks him off, and then the Pip robot shoots May with the juice, and then she literally just pushes 2 buttons and factory resets it like it's a cell phone or something.
All right, so let's talk about that because they actually use the words factory reset.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
like,
Lorne, is factory reset a thing in Star Wars, or did that just happen tonight?
That's essentially what a memory wipe is. I'm a little surprised they didn't just call it a memory wipe.
Yeah.
But that's what a factory reset would be.
All right. Well, they factory reset the Pip time.
Yeah, the scene was so weird and so like goofy, comical. Like it sounds like a compliment. It's a compliment to Jar Jar Binks to say that they're going for a Jar Jar Binks thing there with this little character. Oh, and this came out of nowhere. What was the line? Why aren't you a Jedi? He just asked, and she goes, "Because I failed."
And then she goes full dark
out of
side.
nowhere. Yeah.
Except when she slices at his neck, it's the same thing we saw last week. She actually doesn't slice at his neck. She's trying to hit his Adam's apple with the hilt for no reason we can possibly discern other than plot reasons, bad writing, bad choreography.
He may have a small bruise on his sternum.
Like this scene wouldn't have been as cringeworthy as what it was if there was actually any kind of build up to it. And there wasn't. There's absolutely no build up to it. We don't know anything about why OSHA was flushed out of the Jedi. We don't know any of this stuff. We don't have any of this information. We don't have any of this background. So this is just completely pointless, falls apart, doesn't work. And maybe that's something they have never written. They cut it, but they didn't.
She's never raged before ever. She's never shown any signs of any of this. It's just out of the blue.
This shot makes it look like something happens in the episode, but again, almost nothing happens in this episode.
Yeah, the thing is, there's no dramatic tension. None of these types of elements actually produce any emotion from the audience. One of the things that offends me the most, and despite the fact they insult my intelligence, is that they don't inspire any emotion, nor do they yield any in the show. As Pro pointed out early on, dead Jedi everywhere. Nobody cares.
So can I break in here just to offer an opinion?
Please.
Because obviously, I'm hearing you guys describe it. I know what you're seeing based on what you're saying.
You, Lorne, are the representative of the audience out there not watching, the vast majority, and yet you also come with a huge encyclopedic brain when it comes to knowledge of Star Wars. Please share your thought.
Well, I want to try and be as fair to the show as I can. I mean, obviously, I'm not watching it, but I do worry about just completely trashing it. It's like because I will say last week they did something that I actually thought was kind of surprising and I thought done well. And that was that they did use cortosis. And not only did they use it, they used it correctly.
Did they?
They did. It does short out lightsabers in the way that they say it is. It is brittle.
But it's brittle, and it does take damage from the lightsaber, correct?
Yes. Now, what I was going to say, though, is that it seems to be a repeated theme in the show that while they may have used cortosis correctly, it was shot in such a dim scene that nobody could tell what was going on, and then they didn't explain what it was or where it comes from or why it has the properties that it has.
They did it in this episode. They tell you what it is in this episode.
Yeah,
but that's
one I want to throw in here.
That's still horrible writing because it leaves your audience not knowing what happened for a week. You've got to provide the context to explain what's going on.
Somebody smart said something today that is stuck with me. The fact that this is being released episodically, week to week, instead of the binge model, like Echo was, because they wanted that gone fast. This is suffering from the fact that it is weekly. So as you suggest, Lauren, the audience has no idea what this is until this episode, when he actually says the word, which we already guessed because we have geniuses like you in the audience, that aren't watching the show at all.
Well, the other thing that you're kind of describing here is that they are they're describing the effects of things that are already in universe, but they're using different names or words for it as though they don't know what you would normally call it. And I think this is part of what invites some of the ridicule, is that you're claiming to be these diehard Star Wars fans and that Star Wars literally saved your life, but you're calling something a factory reset, which is something from our world. That's not something that they would say in Star Wars.
I want to shed some light on this. For the audience who is not watching this show, the vast majority of you out there who have the better sense than we do, apparently, and for Lorne, this scene that we're about to play, 16 seconds, fair use, Disney, no audio, but trust me, it's better without the audio. And I don't mean it's better as in like it's funnier this way. I mean, no, legitimately, adding any new form of media just makes it worse.
There's no dialogue in this scene anyways.
Prepare yourselves, folks, for the Bozo the Clown level of stupidity that this is. This is Basil the Badger sniffing dog thing who sniffed the Wookiee toilet paper to find the Wookiee Jedi dead last time, but never did, and instead just screeched through the forest. This is him discovering that it's Bad Twin, who, oh, by the way, Bad Twin up until this episode had a giant face tattoo that clearly marketed her as Bad Twin, but that's gone now for plot. Here we go. This is the big scene where Basil finds out Bad Twin is on the ship. Here we go.
I don't know that it's coming through well on the stream.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't, we're saving you all from it.
Right. And I thought that he was grabbing Pip when he did the flashlight thing, but no, he was just grabbing a flashlight and running off. Lauren, there's one thing I wanted to add here. So when he fixes the helmet, he says cortosis to explain kind of what it is, but then he says that the helmet being cortosis is what blocks out the Jedi from reading his thoughts.
No, that's not what he says. He says that it's also a
sensory deprivation.
Sensory deprivation, like the younglings.
Right, and so it's supposed to be just you and the Force in there.
Yeah, that's total BS. That's not a property of cortosis.
Right, and so if it's just you and the Force, then wouldn't that allow someone else to read your thoughts more easily? Because aren't people reading emotions or emotional state or whatever through the Force?
The way I would read it is that if that's the property that they're going to try to describe, the thing that allows you to read people's thoughts is the Force that is created by life. If you're blocking that out, you can't read anything.
This is why it doesn't make any sense. Anybody, am I misreading what he said in there?
No, because I was irritated because I'm like, okay, this helmet is a 2-in-1. This is a Swiss Army knife helmet that can do all these things that none of these things do combined. So it was incredibly frustrating.
Well, we found out it's really bad visibility. So that's what it's negative 75 visibility. So it offsets the other great things about it.
Yeah, well, what it does do is give you an artificial respirator quality that doesn't seem to make sense.
But and there's no vocal modifications in the helmet is what we found out. All right, Jonas, it's super chat time. We got to read them, and they will be much more entertaining than what we were just forced to watch. Lauren, you owe us for this one, man. This was painful. This was really painful. Super chat.
It was so boring, and I'm going to read super chats, but I still have lots to say. Chipmunk of Vengeance for £10. Even though I won't catch your reviews live, this drops 2:30 a.m. UK time. I'd still like to thank you for your extremely noble sacrifice in bringing us your review. Well, thank you very much, Chipmunk.
You're welcome. And we're not done reviewing this, folks. On the flip side of these super chats, we're going to discuss the fact that Jedi Master nepotism is indeed the one with the light whip. And you won't believe what the magnificent light whip is used for in the very first appearance of said light whip in live action.
They broke their own lore from this show already. They can't even keep track of their own little world they're creating here. Zephyr for 14. Let's roast this piggy kick.
By the way, Keck is LOL in
Horde.
The Horde. Yeah.
I see. Mr. FZ3. gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
FC
Thank you.
the
Very
third.
kind. Much appreciated.
Yep. Planner aspect. Sorry, member for 2. It offends me that people made this total waste. It was
I'm
a
not sure
total
they
waste.
did. I'm not sure people made this.
Seeing what AI is doing now, I wonder if they should have just waited another 6 months and just typed it. Franklin Troll for 5. The Darth Rizzler rises. They're really doubling down on trying to force pull in those female viewers.
Wow.
I'm
Look,
sorry. They're watching Bridgerton. They don't care about Darth Smiley.
100%. I was going to do a video on that, Pro, and then I'm like, everybody knows this. The soap opera aspects of Bridgerton are more of a draw than this. There's no soap opera in this. There's no mystery in this. There's no intrigue in this. There's no interest in this. Wait, that's all the same thing.
Did you guys enjoy the part where she sees the scar on his naked back? And after he has murdered everyone she loves, she's like, how'd you get that sexy scar?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the word sexy in there, but sure.
He's like biting her bottom lip. How'd you get that scar?
I'm not
Man
sure
who murdered everyone I love.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a tramp stamp either, but I get your point. And as far as Riz goes, bro got none. Bro is negative Riz.
It's
negative
not a
Riz.
tramp stamp, but it's where it is on his body. So SFX Sabertooth Raptor for 5. Lorne, what do you think of the C-Wing? Not sure if it's real or a fan-made design. It is a mix of an X or E-Wing. Is it a twin design cockpit?
I was saying before, you stumped me. I was not familiar with the C-Wing. I did look up an image kind of on another tab here. I don't know if it was the correct image or not. What I saw looked like a bit of a Cylon Raider. I don't know if that's kind of what you're talking about or not, but I'll try and look more deeply into it and see if I can find out more about it.
All right.
One of the ships in here looks like a bird of prey. I was like, okay.
Every ship in here is some of the worst CGI we've seen since the prequels.
Yep.
This is terrible CGI. The lighting in the CGI is just awful.
Sutton Creek Productions member for 7. You can only write a character as smart as you are. I will say that Soul is the closest to a complete character, at least as far as how he delivers his lines. But man,
no, Jonas, they're going to ruin that next episode, and you know it.
He's got some interesting lines this episode. I will say that.
Well, when she's like bound to the bed, I was like, okay, that's terrible dialogue.
Yep. The medical.
Never bind a young woman to a bed and have a man over the top of her in a show in which you wish to project that he's the hero. Don't do that.
I don't think they're trying to do that though, right? Because they've been trying to depict the Jedi as kind of villains the entire time, and that's the whole point.
Ding, ding. John's correct.
Well, wait.
And he said, "You will listen," but then he never says anything.
Okay.
Well, that's how the episode should have ended there. That should have been the
But
I really thought it was going to end, and then it's like, no, we get a.
That would have been mercy. That would have been mercy.
Nude Gamer member for 4. Lorne is rad. Join the Lorny Toad Legion.
It was more awkward the first way you said it.
It was.
I got nothing. I'm just going to let that one go past.
Lorny Toads.
I never imagined that I would have a Lorny Toad Legion, but I guess
I like it.
You heard it here first, folks. Get your Lorny Toad mugs and T-shirts at the Pro Store next week. We'll see you there.
Aaron Herkelman for $1.99. Straight filler episode. Yeah, the question I have is, do they understand that it's a filler episode?
By the way, it's not straight because they allude to Janky, whatever. Janky chick.
I like janky. Now that you've said it, it's not going to go away.
Or
she's still alive.
Jedi,
I bet.
Horny Jedi. No, she's waited, but horny Jedi chick. Yeah, nap time.
With eyes wide open.
Sure. Now it's a Creed song. Anyway, so the horny Jedi chick. Definitely, there was a relationship. It wasn't just insinuated; it was stated plainly by.
I realize now that you mean the Jedi chick with horns. I was like, is there anyone with romantic desire in this show?
But Good Twin is open for lots of things because after the guy murders her love interest, Janky the Jedi, she falls in love with him. So I mean, she's all over the place. Not a single character has a single motivation that you can hang your hat on and be like, okay, I get who this is.
Wait, no, you can't put a pin in any.
Even the weird sniffer guy, I still don't understand what he's after in this episode.
By the way, did you see his terrible? Did you see his terrible kung fu?
Is that what that was supposed to be?
We would like. Would you all like to see it again? Would you like to see
makes me long for the days
watch
of
this.
kneeling.
There it is. Terrible kung fu. I'm gonna kick you in the pants. There it comes. Wait.
Hugs your leg. Humps the leg.
I have to
humps
say,
the foot, runs.
Just shot him and killed him like Indy does.
Yeah, but in the NFL, he put his head down to tackle. That would have been a penalty. I'm just saying. It's not a proper tackle technique.
Pro, do you realize what has happened here? John Maynard has gifted 50 WDW Pro memberships.
Hell, look at John Maynard coming in, and we've had some other gifted memberships tonight, but man, that is wonderful. Thank you so much, John Maynard. I think we should
celebrate.
Remember how hard some of this stuff is to do with a little video like this.
Hello there and hi there from Quick Buck Comics. We've been watching as companies like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Universal all universally suck. And then we watched as companies like Rippaverse and Big Man Comics came in to save the day. That's when we realized we could make crappy comics and do it the cheap way by not doing the hard work that Rippaverse and Big Man Comics were doing. We've got characters like John Maynard, William Thompson, and Staccato DDS. Why? Because we stole them from the WDW Pro audience. Because making characters is hard. And by the end of every comic, you get to draw your own panels. Why? Because art is hard. But please, folks, when you're done, make sure to buy our coffee that's made by someone else with our label slapped on it. Why? You guessed it. Making coffee is hard.
Thank you very much, John Maynard.
Thank you.
Making coffee's hard.
Yep. Anthony Brown for 10 Canadian dollars. Honestly, might be green blue milk incoming. So I think this was about Octo.
Listen, yes. I would not be surprised if we're on Octo right now.
Yeah.
Why else would they just not say the name of the planet?
They said every other planet.
Yeah, with stupid names every time.
But they literally put the words unknown planet on screen.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand why you guys aren't just saying Nadia Solman's name, because everybody knows who Octomom is. So.
Huh? Oh, I get it. Butter Biscuit 92 for 5.
She and Kate plus 8 might show up in this show. I mean, that's where we are. Honey Boo Boo's coming.
It comes. Here it comes. L-Take Jonas is wrong about the Vader clip. It needs to be played every stream. It's that funny, like the taco commercial. Now ascend, my son, and play the clip.
The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
You guys didn't know. He was talking about Manny Jacinto. He was projecting the future.
The power of Manny.
Manny.
Yep. See, that would make more sense. He does talk about the power of two in this episode, even though he doesn't explain it in any way. Philly Chew.
Also, are we ever going to get anything about the witches, or did we just drop the entire plot on that?
That's the cliffhanger from Soul's dialogue. Remember, he's going to tell us what happened.
But like these twins were born immaculately from like dark evil magic. Like, is there anything that's going to come from that, or is that just gone now?
Well, Soul is going to tell us that he actually massacred all of the witches because they were engaging in dark, unnatural practices, and we do not.
Folks, if you hear a giant woohoo all across the nation, that will be John Trent celebrating Soul in that moment.
Philly Chew 215 for 5. Did Smilo allude to Plagueis when talking about how he got the scar? I don't think he did. Anybody else get that?
No, I feel he talked about a potential Jedi Master giving that to him, or at least that's what he made Osha think, that it was his Jedi Master that sliced him. But
it doesn't look like a
comment on
lightsaber
it.
scar, right?
Can I suggest that it was also Smiler Ren, Darth Boris, whatever you want to call this guy, that actually was the one that slayed the witches, were Osha and May.
No, but I don't like that theory.
Okay, well, thanks. I appreciate it.
One thing I will say is that helmet is lame. It was much cooler when it was in black. Now that it's in like a slightly metallic orange, it looks like it's an unshaded texture in a 3D modeler.
Hey,
I mean, point though, the guy knows too much about what happened on Brendok, so he probably was there in some capacity. But it ruins my headcanon about the Jedi actually being heroes instead of the villains that they're painting them to be.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, that helmet, when it's in lighting, it looks like Power Rangers Dino Force at this point.
I don't even think it looks that good.
Well, if you cross that with like Alien,
it's like discount Kylo Ren. You know how they're trying to make the Knights of Ren thing like a thing? That's not a thing now. They undid the
Culture. Can you imagine when he's in there like making his little helmet and he says, "You know what this needs? Weird demon teeth. I'm going to spend the time to wield demon teeth on my helmet."
Little teeth that say, "My mom says I'm special."
No, okay. I'm going to tell you right now. That is all. That is a retractable phone cord. Remember those from the handsets and the wall phone?
Oh,
that's all that is.
It's the Swiss Army helmet.
Saber the Raptor for 5. Didn't watch this show. What would make it better is bad lip syncing.
Yes.
Add helium, chickmunk voice, Bozo the Clown, and finally add Three Stooges. Thoughts? That would be so much better because really describing what happens makes it sound like things happen in this show.
No.
But nothing happens in this show.
That happened.
There was, yes. I feel like, he wasted a lot of energy doing his kata before the attack. And
I don't know if he's like sentient or a dog or what he is.
Indy could have saved us from this.
Indy could have just shot him.
Did you see? You know what? I want to say that getting shot in the face with hydraulic fluid is probably not a good time.
Yep. Dustin Sensenig for $2. Have they shown the light whip? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they have shown it.
Wait for John to describe it because it's unsatisfying.
The Venomoth is sneaking behind a giant tree. No, it's a Venomoth.
Venomoth is no, it can't be a Venomoth. Isn't that a Pokemon? I thought it was an Umbramoth.
Yes.
Jonas has become El Stickler. No, go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot we were making fun of them.
The Venomoth is hiding sneakily behind the tree in the middle of the daytime when these people are supposed to be attracted to light. He's going to attack our gay Mog Jedi, and he launches into his attack run, and Vernestra just takes her whip out and goes, shh, doesn't even look at it. And the other guy's like cowering in fear, like, oh my gosh, I almost died. And that's it.
That's it? That's all the whip?
So far.
Yep.
Yeah, it zapped a bug that was attracted even though there was no light. Because bugs now are attracted to not light. They were attracted to light before, now it's not light.
It's the Bug Zapper 3000.
It's during the day, and these things are supposed to be nocturnal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Nocturnal, attracted to light. Circadian rhythm says no.
But she kills it with the light whip, so that is your introduction to light whips in the Star Wars live action universe, folks. Bug Zapper.
It is
like one of those rackets that you put batteries in. Yep.
Can you at least tell whether they animated it over a real whip or was it just hand drawn?
No, it's definitely not a real whip. There's no way it's a real whip.
But she was deft with it, which means, congratulations, Miss Headland. You've got a great girlfriend, wife, whatever. Anyway,
something like that. Various crazy people for 5. I was landscaping my Lorny Toad region. I bet my experience was better than the Copperlight.
You did not have to bring me into that, Jonas.
No, I was talking about the region. Anyways. Thank you, various crazy people.
I felt like this was the right clip to play during that Super Chat, by the way.
Sutton Creek Productions for $2 Canadian. Disney Star Wars might cause comatosis. I mean,
Uh,
I prefer the holiday special to this. I say that without irony in any way.
Okay, can
You
I'm
were
glad that
kidding
water's
about her
very
holding it like a
reflective.
gun.
Is there no execution in the Republic? Like, what is this stupid rule that these people can't actually take action against criminals?
It's the Leslye Headland philosophy regarding Harveys of the world.
Fair enough. Josh Berg for $5. I saw an ad for a new Disney show on TikTok, and it gave me a terrible idea. We should try to get zombies reanimated to chart higher than the Acolyte. Well, there is, if I ever get around to it, there'll be an episode about everything woke on zombies. So
Yes.
I wouldn't really recommend getting that one to chart. So
I'm with Jonas. That is an ultra super woke property that is it's just straight up propaganda. It might be, it's probably worse than Star Wars when it comes to propaganda.
Yep.
And they actively admit it too. Like they admit it even more than Star Wars stuff in like their interviews and stuff, what they're trying to do.
Yep. But I like the idea. If we can find something else, if they can, this Sky High reboot that they're talking about doing for Disney Plus. Actually, I've heard that Percy Jackson is not woke, but who knows?
It's got all
right. Two more super chats, Jonas. Then we've got to get back to the review.
That's right. All right. Randomly epic for 10. I pray none involved with the show gets their hands on Kreia or anything else from KOTOR. Oh no! Let me tell you. Video on that Park Place coming, or an article from John Trent over on thatparkplace.com.
Or maybe we talk about it on that Game Place. You don't know.
Yeah, I think Culture actually has a good point there with that Game Place, because remember, they are still developing the KOTOR remake, and they've talked about that it's not just updating. It's not a an update for like obviously modern gaming technology. They are completely remaking the game from character dialogues to everything else. So there's going to be all kinds of nonsense in that.
Crypto Bendu for $10. I like the Star Warsy name there. What a Sith Master shows his blah, blah, blah to a future apprentice. Only in Disney Star Wars, folks. Let the alphabet community in. Also, they're teleporting again. I do have questions about how long it takes to travel across the galaxy in order for, their bodies to still be there and fine.
Well, it's an issue with time as well, because remember, you go from right here and it jumps right back to Sol leaving the planet. Like so they're trying to tell you that while Smilo and Osha are already here on Octo,
and she's been snoozing. She's Sleeping Beauty,
yeah. And Sol is just now leaving the planet. So,
and again, they reinforced the idea that 16 years had passed.
Since
Brenda.
Yeah, Star Wars has always had trouble with the passage of time, even when George Lucas was in charge of it.
But this is a special
however,
kind
is like a continuity error.
Yes, but this whole show's a continuity. This whole show has problems with continuity. So
its own continuity. It destroys Star Wars canon, and it destroys its own canon from scene to scene. The height of the villain can't stay consistent.
How long was Jedi Nap Time out, before he decided to willingly have a drink of some tree that doesn't exist on the planet that you have to get the poison from?
Bunta, but not the other Bunta. Not the Bunta Eve Bunta, but the Bunta from the Bunta tree.
Yes. There's so many problems with the show.
John, is there anything left in our recap that we need to talk about now that we've discussed the light whip being used only to smack a beetle?
I guess we can talk about. I guess you showed Chimere. You showed Osha responding to Chimere's threatening her or asking her to kill him. Stupid villain trope.
Right. She said, "I'm not so easily corrupted," and then she attempted to murder him, but not really because.
We did get some discussion on the Force. They say Chimere says, or Osha says, without training, it fades, like the Force fades, like your power within the Force fades. And Chimere's like, there is another powerful emotions lie just underneath your conscience: fear, anger, loss, desire. And obviously, confirming they lead to the dark side. And he's like, semantics. So that was kind of a big. I thought that was maybe the most significant part of the show.
On that was weird to me to say anger and fear are below consciousness. No, that's the least accurate description of anger and fear that I've ever heard.
I was just wondering what Lauren thinks of that description of the Force, or how the Force fades if you don't constantly train in it.
I guess it depends on what sources that you're going from. They've always kind of played a little bit loose with how Jedi disconnect from the Force, whether it's an active I'm cutting myself off, or whether it's more a passive I'm just choosing not to use it, versus whether or not you train with it. If you're going back to George Lucas, Lucas has said definitively that yes, you do have to train to continue to use it. It is a lifelong practice, and that if you don't work those muscles, that you're not going to be as proficient. And so I don't see that as being directly opposed to what George would say. But I do think that this is...
I think there is an argument to be made too. There are people like Mike Tyson that are just naturally gifted, or what's the swimmer's name who won all those like gold medals?
Oh, Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people that are clearly like naturally talented and gifted that are just going to be better.
Yes.
In the Force.
See, I think this is another area where there's lots of debate in the community about whether the only way that you could be powerful in the Force is to come from a particular bloodline. I don't think that that's true. I think everybody can touch the Force. And the question is, are you going to dedicate your time and your effort into communing with it, manipulating it? And then I would also argue there are other Force traditions. To be a Jedi is a type of dogma. This is, the Jedi have their interpretation of the Force. The Sith have their interpretation of the Force. There's probably not a lot of difference there other than how you actually access it and what you use it for. And so I've never really bought into the idea that it is only available to a chosen few. It's actually available to every living being. But some are going to have more natural aptitude for it, and some are able to manipulate it simply because they put a lot of time and effort into learning how to use it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've always seen the Force as well. I hated the idea that Luke could, like, quote unquote cut himself off from the Force, at least in the way that is described in The Last Jedi, and how they did it in those Star Wars Jedi games too.
I think it depends on how you're interpreting cutting off from the Force. I would interpret it as the Force is always there. It's created by living beings. All living beings are connected through the Force. If you choose not to use it and you're simply ignoring it, I could see that as cutting yourself off from the Force. If you're looking at it more as an active thing where it's like, I'm doing something to myself that prevents me from communing with the Force, that I don't see as being quite the correct way to interpret it.
So, guys, I want to pause on the conversation about the episode, because let's get into some backstory about how we arrived here. As we've said, this was awful. I mean, we have seen some awful episodes. This was the worst. So the sources that I had telling me that this was the worst episode, man, did they nail it. So how did it come to be that we had an episode where it feels like it was not made by a human? Like, how can that possibly be? Well, take a look at this. This is an article out of Forbes that came out from our good friend Scott Mendelson, Paul Tassi, earlier today. The Acolyte's new Sith was inspired by Elden Ring's Let Me Solo Her. So in case you all are wondering where Leslye Headland goes for her... Yeah, it does look... Yeah, exactly right. In case you all are wondering where Leslye Headland goes for inspiration, this is it. In a wide-ranging inverse interview with the Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland, we got a whole lot of new information about Khmer, if that's even his name, the new Sith that is introduced last week, in a stunning fashion. One thing that stood out was his wild combat style. No. And his unique look. No. A flowing draped robe and just 2 pieces of armor, a helmet and gauntlet made of lightsaber killing cortosis. In other words, he's covered in magic armor, the likes of which we've never seen. Instead, Headland says that this is what she said. We have to get him in something flowy. As soon as I said he didn't have armor, everyone lost their mind. How can you not have armor? I just want to emphasize here. This means she doesn't know anything. The guy is wearing Cortosis armor. And she says he doesn't have armor. We are dealing with full-blown idiots. How can you not have armor?
Any armor.
I was like, why would you wear armor if you're not going to get hit? It's like the Elden Ring costume, the Elden Bling. When you summon people, you always summon the people that aren't wearing anything, and it's like, these people are blanking crazy. Why wear armor if you're not going to get hit? Goes hard. What she is no doubt referencing is the most famous example of this in Elden Ring, a player named Let Me Solo Her, who spends months helping people beat Millennia, the hardest boss in the game, wearing nothing but a loincloth and a pot on his head. Leslye Headland, who designed this villain and designed this show and is the showrunner and is the writer, doesn't know that he's wearing armor that is deeply ingrained in lore. She has no idea what she's talking about. She thinks he's running around naked. Maybe she got confused with this episode. Guys, is this yet more evidence that we're not dealing with simple incompetence? We are dealing with the behemoth of all morons. I mean, this is...
No, this is actually really brilliant marketing because Elden Ring is huge right now. They just released the DLC Shadow of the Erd Tree, so it's like super popular. So basically, she's trying to attach herself to the popularity of Elden Ring and try and say like, oh, look, our television show is just like Elden Ring. It's inspired by it. That's what she's trying to do.
Well, John, imagine if George Lucas had come out back in the 70s and said, oh, yeah, we really designed Darth Vader based on the idea that he would not have a helmet. That's why he doesn't wear a helmet, because we wanted him to really not have a helmet. It's like,
he would look like what is his name? Cool Al Bundy, whatever that guy's name is. He looked like him with his cone chopped off. Yeah,
So I haven't really gotten a good look at this guy. I saw the brief clips of the fight where he was using the cortosis to short out the lightsabers. He's obviously got the helmet. He's got a gauntlet or a vambrace. Did he use anything else, or is it?
He kicks.
He has a lightsaber that he and if you watch the Shadowversity episode on the fight, shoo. Anyways, you need to watch that.
You do.
He has a moment where he can split the lightsaber in half, and he has a small lightsaber dagger.
I was just curious if when she's saying that we designed him not to have armor, if she was thinking like a suit, if she's getting away with that by saying that because it's just the helmet and a vambrace, that he's not really armored.
Lauren, I suspect that her exposure to armor would have come out of the Ahsoka, big bad guy that is.
I think it's more Vader. I think it's just Darth Vader is in a giant suit of armor, and that's why she thinks
armor.
Yeah.
All right.
But you don't think that what he's wearing is in a suit of armor?
I would consider Vader's suit to be armor. It's also a life support suit, but I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The imagery is the Black Knight from. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
So,
I feel
Leslye Headland appears not to understand her own character.
They have all these Vader style armor pieces on them. If you look at the SWTOR and all that stuff.
Right. No, indeed. It's just to what extent? I mean, is that Beskar, whatever you say, Beskar? Excuse me. Is that or is it something else that they're wrapping themselves in or making their shoulder pads out of or whatever? I mean, the vamp braces I understand, in sword combat, but
well, I think the other thing to keep in mind is that, I mean, you've got two templates for the Sith. You've got the Heavy, which is the Vader style character, and you've got the Evil Sorcerer, which is the Emperor. He never wears armor.
No, he doesn't need it.
Dooku doesn't either.
What's that?
By the way, that's true. And Dooku is one of my favorite bad guys, right? Just old school awesome. Right.
Neither does Maul either when you come down to that. So it's like this isn't like something new for the Sith. No. Usually they're trying to hide. You're not going to advertise yourself by So
dude, he did such a bad job of hiding. It was like we all know who you are, dummy. Yeah.
Well, I do wonder if John's theory is wrong though for one reason, because as you said, he appears to have knowledge. What's that?
Which theory?
The one about him, I'm probably going to get this wrong. It's like I suspect that he was embedded with the witches.
Oh, yeah,
and maybe responsible for killing them, because
Theory is 100% wrong. There's no way that Leslye Headland would actually do that.
right. I'm guessing probably what they're doing is they're going to treat him kind of like a cuckoo bird and say that he had embedded himself inside these witches to kind of study their ways, being the sneaky Sith that he is, trying to learn various other secrets of other Force traditions. So,
And he has their
Could be.
ability to get inside their heads.
But to circle back around to this, John, you're saying that you think that this is sort of a retcon in the headcanon of Leslye, that actually Smilo Ren is not based at all probably on an Elden Ring character. It's just something she's come up with to try to
100%.
drive some enthusiasm.
Has nothing to do with what her actual inspirations were. They're just literally using this because Elden Ring is like the biggest game right now.
Well, on that note, let me show you how desperate they are to try to get this show to be popular. Take a look at this. This is out of CBR. Came out 12 hours ago.
No. Go to that Park Place. Go to that Park Place. Use that Park.
You got an article talking about this?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
hot garbage.
Hang on,
that
we're going to
was.
switch, folks. Oh, good job. All right, here we go. Switching to that Park Place because, we know we're getting some truth over here. Here we go, folks. Media attempts to spin the Acolyte as a success based on nebulous and undefined streaming and engagement index. All right, here we go. Canadian-owned media website Screen Rant attempted to spin the Acolyte as a success based on nebulous metrics from an analytics firm called Real Good. Jonas, what company does that sound like?
REEL.
Oh, it is. Yes. Which company is this that it sounds like? There's another company out there that measures online chatter, and it's totally meaningless. What is the name of that one? I can't.
Parrot Analytics.
Parrot Analytics. Yes, culture.
Yeah.
It's garbage, worthless data, in my opinion. Please don't sue us. I'm giving my opinion, but it doesn't.
But
I don't think it has any value whatsoever.
No. Oh, somebody talked about us. It wasn't good, but somebody talked about us. Yeah. Good job.
If somebody's talking about you, it doesn't mean that they are using your product, consuming your product, enjoying your product. In an article titled "Exclusive Data Suggests the Acolyte is a Star Wars Success Story Despite Backlash," Thomas Bacon claims that Real Good looked through their data to see how the Acolyte compares to other live-action Disney Plus Star Wars TV shows. Folks, you're not going to believe what they say is the number one best all-time Disney Plus show. And they wrote this and put it out as a legitimate piece of English that should make sense. A graph showing the various Disney Plus Star Wars shows based on release date is shown with each show receiving a unique streaming and engagement numerical ranking. We have no idea what they're basing their streaming on. We have no idea what they're basing their engagement on. But, folks, a monkey could throw feces at a wall and hit better numbers than this. Get ready. The Acolyte has the second highest score with a 6.1 behind Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi, folks, it's the granddaddy of them all. And Ahsoka, of course, right up there with Mandalorian Season 2. This is just nonsense. I mean, this is nonsense.
No, it makes perfect sense, right? Because they're actually, so if you go down, they kind of try and explain what their metrics are. I think they're actually tracking social media noise, like what's happening on X, what's happening on Facebook, TikTok, etc. So the fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi is the highest probably is right, because you had Star Wars actively attack their fans, accuse them of being racist, and that was the first time they really did that, like leading up to a television show. You had Ewan McGregor do his whole car video, and what do they do exactly with the Acolyte? Like the Acolyte is all over everything except on people watching it on Disney Plus, because it's people just like crapping on it. Like it is everywhere. It's just not getting any actual real viewership.
Rather than measuring success, then they are literally measuring how much people are furious at these shows and then retconning that into some sort of success metric. Is that fair?
I
my
have
theory.
to take over the screen for just a second. I need to throw this up on the screen. Oh, sorry,
Throw
not
up
that.
everywhere.
Not that. Oops.
What is this?
Sorry.
Throw
What
up
is
everywhere,
this?
Jonas.
Ahsoka draws 14 million viewers for first episode, August 29th. This is Disney Plus, their own internal metrics. And then Deadline, The Acolyte, 11.1 million on Disney Plus after 5 days of streaming. This isn't even beating Ahsoka, and Ahsoka was a dip.
Right, and so you also have to look at this too, which I cited in the article, is that the Acolyte numbers here that they show, those are global numbers. Those Ahsoka numbers, my bet is that's actually just US numbers. Because if you look at what Nielsen gave us for the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, it's 829 million minutes watched. If you do a simple algebra calculation for what they gave us for the Acolyte, which is that 11.1 million, and they say they calculate views total time watched divided by total runtime available. And I did that. I took the 11.1 million divided by whatever the runtime was, and it comes to only 820 million minutes watched, which is less than what Ahsoka did just in the US. So global minutes watched for the Acolyte is 9 million less than Ahsoka.
Can I introduce a different idea into the conversation?
Sure.
Because I like numbers. People don't watch the whole thing. Do you know how I know that? Because I didn't watch the whole thing. I said, I don't want to watch Previously Opened. I don't want to watch the intro. I don't want to watch any of the other bologna sausage that comes along with the episode.
Bologna sausage, please.
I did say bologna sausage. And then I do not watch.
Bologna.
Oh, Filoni sausage. You know what? You're right. I'm going to start saying Filoni sausage. So I did not watch any of the other Filoni sausages, including the credits for this episode, because I don't care. And most of the audience doesn't either. So if you have a total runtime and the number of minutes watched, even fewer people would have watched what this is. Right?
Well, let me throw something at you, Culture.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
that's
you're exactly right.
Get the most spiritual interpretation.
So let me throw this at you guys, okay? If that's where it was, where do you think it's going to be after this episode? Because I'm going to do something that we've not done before. I'm going to tell you my review score for this ahead of time. It's a 0. I've never given anything a 0 on this channel ever. It's the first 0 I've ever given, and I reserve zeros for things that are painful. Like, it's got to hurt for me to give it a 0. If this were a movie, I would have left. There's no merit in this episode. There's no reason to watch it. It is painful to sit through it. I only sat through it because I'm reviewing it. There's no way you could have forced me to watch this unless I'm literally doing this for my career. So where do you think the audience is going to be if it was already pulling in half, a third of Ahsoka's ratings, and Ahsoka is this embarrassment? Where's it going to be after this episode? Average people aren't going to sit through this nonsense. Where's it going to be, guys?
If you look at the Illuminate data, we saw that the first week premiere was 210 million minutes watched. And then obviously the second week jumped up to like 380.5 million. I do think there was maybe some overlap. People still kind of tuning in, watching the first 2 episodes and then the third one as well. And that's why it bumped up. But it quickly dropped from there to like 265, I want to say, and now it's down to like 230 something with the fifth episode, the 4th week. So I mean, we're looking, I think, probably back at like the close to 200 million minute mark, maybe even less.
I think it's gonna drop in the hundreds.
Yeah. Oh, I think you guys are both right. Here's the weirdest thing. I think that third week bump was because everybody's playing catch up.
Yeah.
Because nothing else makes sense because it immediately
catch up
fell back. Yeah.
And the hype of how bad it was going to be, the train wreck.
Right. I mean, you've got people who are like, it can't be that. Oh my God, it is. All right. Well, before we go any further, guys, I want to bring on someone who was a background character in the Acolyte.
No,
so, yes, it's someone. We're going to interview someone from the Acolyte. Here we go.
Who could that be? Let's go see, boys and girls.
I'm cutting it off. No,
You removed our guest.
I'm using
Jonas,
my producer veto here.
I've never seen
Jonas, your attitude sucks. Just like all the rest of you bigots. Okay, this show is the greatest Star Wars product that has ever existed to man. Okay?
Wilton, are you saying that because you had an extra role in this? You were red shirt guy number 18?
In what?
In Acolyte, episode 5. Were you not
I
running
was
around in the
body
background?
double. I was the
Yeah.
body double.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Look at the tuft. You can see.
Yeah. Little singe there from the lightsaber. All right, so Wilton, you say that
Welcome
this
to
is
the
the
channel,
greatest
Wilton.
Star Wars show ever.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, explain why, Wilton.
Explain why what?
Why is it the greatest Star Wars show ever?
Okay, which one are we talking about?
The Acolyte, Wilton. The show that we are literally basing this live stream on. You have entered a show where it's like the Talking Dead. It's like the Talking Dead, except the reverse. We tell the truth. So why is the Acolyte the greatest Star Wars show ever? Go ahead,
I
Wilton.
didn't watch it.
I hate you, Wilton.
Well, that would
I
explain why.
officially hate you.
Well, come on.
If I can seriously throw something in here.
Rings of Power, though, because we know that that's your cousin.
Oh no, I'm definitely going to be reviewing Rings of Power. I'm going to try and pull like the Az and do it. You know, I'm actually going to commit to that one. Sort of. I mean,
I just want to point out this episode. You could put the scenes in almost any order, and it wouldn't affect anything that happened in this episode. As long as you have it ending, well, even the ending of the episode could be moved to another spot, and it wouldn't. None of this makes any sense.
Well, let's say
it is literally the definition of, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. None of it is related. In fact, none of you mentioned the fact that the power goes out on the ship, and and then it comes back on for no reason whatsoever. And
plot.
And she's supposed to be. She's not the twin that's a mech neck, but Saul is still like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to go fix this, even though they've said that the Republic says that is illegal for people to go fix things outside the ship. But she doesn't have to go outside the ship. But whatever, that just kind of gets left by the wayside. All of this doesn't matter in any way. And I see so many reasons, like, why do they leave the corpses behind? Well, apparently in this episode, it's so they can find the corpses.
okay, so
At least they said that they were going to give them a proper burial.
At least there's that.
That was nice of them. 7 days or 12 days later, however long it is.
I thought for sure that we weren't even going to get anything with that, and they were just going to.
Well, they didn't bury them. That's an off-screen thing. We'll get,
right. But at least there was a line of dialogue implying that that's what they were going to do. I thought they were for sure just going to let them sit there and rot, because they were going to try and depict these Jedi as like completely emotionless, and they just move on. It's like, whatever, they died, they served the cause.
All right.
And now we're gonna continue
to that point, John. I got to ask you a question. Why were we not looking at masticated corpses? Because those bugs clearly attack things they want to eat. Why did they not eat them?
I don't know if they did though, right? Because like do the bugs actually eat them? I don't think they actually showed us that. And remember, yeah. So I don't know.
I mean,
Did you say
the exact same time too, right? They showed up the day after, because there's dialogue that says that the Umbra Moth colony hatched, and then they're there.
you've got it though wrong? You've got it though wrong.
Okay.
You would say that these Jedi that were killed were pretty much clowns at their jobs, right?
Oh, for sure.
They didn't eat them because they tasted funny.
No. Oh.
Well played. If I was a different guy, I would go waka waka.
Wilton, did you feed him that joke?
Oh,
I
God.
wish. That was too quality. That was quality. So,
Well, as long as Wilton wants to talk, I just need to bring up that we have super chats to read.
oh, I can read them.
Oh, Jonas, are you asking Wilton to read them for you?
Oh, no.
How kind.
No.
Let's see. Mr. Haywood gifted 1 WDW Pro membership. Thank you very much for doing that. Jeremy Turner, member for 11. Wasn't Octo supposed to be hidden in the sequel trilogy?
Isn't Oct 2?
Is it also in the mid-rim? Is this where they are for
Jonas, are
so
you
far?
are you ignoring that Wilton may have corrected you on Star Wars knowledge and did not even troll you?
No. It's Octo.
It's Oct 2.
There's not
I'm
enough
with
O's for
Wilton.
it to be
It's
Octo.
2. The power of 1. The power of 2.
Exactly.
Oh, I thought it was
Lauren.
a chew.
Adjudicate this, Lauren.
Tic-tac-toe, Oct 2.
I thought
They've
the
used-
planet planet was called Achu, right? Achu. It was a sneeze.
Lauren, survey says
Jonas doesn't know how to say words.
They've used both, but I've also heard it referred to as, because it was a major location in The Last Jedi, that they may have named it that way because it was Act 2. So,
Oh, no, that's terrible.
Oh dear.
no,
no,
that's
that's
actually
terrible.
not a joke. I have actually
No.
heard that. That's not a joke. I have actually
after
heard.
Kofar
It's
and
not a joke,
Bryndak.
except that it is a joke.
Valid.
Oh,
You know what?
You know what? Maybe Leslye.
Lauren, that was a step too far. Kofar? That was a step
Leslye
too far.
maybe, if Leslye could find it in her heart to somehow also fall in love with Ryan Johnson, that is a pair made in the bowels of Sithdom somewhere. So get them together. And yeah, folks, let's play.
The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
I love that.
All right, Jonas, keep them going. Keep them going.
All right, let's see. Rod Thunderheart for $5 Canadian. Occupational Safety Health Administration. This name, who wrote this? Where'd they get the names? As a trucker, I'll never get that name out of my head.
That's an appropriate super chat for what we just talked about.
Very.
Absolutely.
OSHA has been falling down on the job since like episode 3, because OSHA should have been all over the fire safety problems that they had there. I'm saying.
looking forward to the next character that shows up in episode 6, 7. I don't know what we're on now, but I look forward to NATO.
Yep. Various crazy people for $10. Disney releasing a new series starring Hawk 2 Me Too,
Oh boy.
a politically confused droid who has all the pronouns and engages in self-loathing over them all.
Sounds like
And
Jonas.
will immediately merchandise the most basal and terrible parts of humanity quickly to make a quick buck at the cost of a lifetime of credibility.
Yep. Let's see. Rod Thunderheart, see-through love, a Spanish teacher who can become invisible when angry, but then aroused it happens uncontrollably, falls for the new gym teacher who's blind but can see her. Find at Friesen Press.
That's right, folks. And go check out Rod Thunderheart's novel adventures, and I think you'll have a good time. Rod, make sure to put your link out there in the chat for the audience to see.
Yep. And John Maynard for $5. How many episodes ended up on the cutting room floor in fear of the potential backlash? The lost episodes would explain the 180 million.
Not enough.
No, there was nothing left off the plate, kids. This is what they got ya.
We needed a bigger cutting board, a much bigger cutting board.
Well, then it would have only been 2 episodes.
No, bigger cutting board.
Also,
might be
from John Maynard, for the Lorne Marathon, could it be a foster children foundation to be benefited?
Lorne, they're pushing for this. You need to save the children, Lorne.
You guys coughed up $1,000 yet?
Oh, speaking
Wilton
of
said he was picking that one up.
Oh no, I was actually going to say we're actually trying to work on getting Culture to help with the fundraiser. We want to repeat that scene in the last episode where what's her face chopped off her hair. We want to see Culture go all in with a acetylene torch.
I took that phone call from my agent, okay, and I told them no.
Dude, you know how much money we would raise if you cut your hair with a acetylene torch and you could give it
Okay,
to
actually,
baby?
you will raise a lot of money if we do this. I don't know if you know that.
Exactly. You have way more value than hair. And I guarantee you what we could do to Culture is we could get more people to say, you know what, I'll donate my hair too. So actually, by you denying this, you're actually denying more people hair and more cancer survivors money.
Okay.
I also heard Wilson was a good barber too.
Did you guys know that way back in the day on the old news groups, there was a news group called Rec Arts SF Star Wars Miscellaneous? And there were a group of people that started calling themselves the Order of the Shaven Wookiees. And eventually, they actually did get referenced in some of the EU novels. So if you did this Culture, you could be an honorary member of the Order of the Shaven Wookiees.
Okay,
I think that's perfect.
Yes. Culture agrees.
No. Okay, so
Look at the chat. I guarantee you the chat is confirming everything we're saying right now.
I think there might actually be like video footage of me saying no.
I think there's actually
I have to say this for those of you who are somehow just listening to this. John Maynard with a $50 super chat. I thought my gifting was to help with that, Lauren. Well, here is this as further incentive. Lauren,
I had skillfully shifted this conversation away to getting Culture to cut his hair off so that you guys would forget you were trying to do this, and you had to bring that up. Thanks.
All right, Lauren. What if instead of watching it, you do a marathon where you have to slowly read the subtitles? All the subtitles, slowly read them. It's for children, Lauren.
You know, I could actually make that entertaining, maybe, because
that's true.
Back in a previous career, I would sometimes I was responsible for email security, and I would take the most entertaining spam messages and read them in an operatic style. So that was kind of fun.
Actually, I sense a new series, folks.
Taking every word of the Acolyte and actually dramatizing it and reading it, that could be an interesting live stream.
Yeah, to actually inject drama into the Acolyte? Impossible, some say. We'll find out with Lauren.
Anthony Brown for 10 Canadian dollars. It is truly sad that no one in current Disney or Lucasfilm will ever understand Star Wars like Lauren does. You are a legend, my sir.
Wow.
Thank you. That's very heartfelt, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
See, Ryan Matheson for $1.99. What's with all the emotional twits in Jedi robes?
They are really emotional Jedi.
Yep. Carl Anderson, I think I'm going to have to apologize to you, Carl. For $5 as a massive Percy Jackson book fan, I can tell you it is very woke. They twisted the story so much that the only recognizable parts are the locations. I know they messed with Medusa quite a bit, but at least the character design was cool.
This is one that I cannot weigh in on. I'm not an expert in this area. John, Culture, anybody got a thought on this one? Not you, Wilton.
No.
Not you.
No, you know what? If you're that dedicated to this position, I will believe you.
Yep. I also hear that Rick Riordan's wife was the one who made many of the changes to the show. So,
hey, look, I heard that Rick Moranis was going to find those shrunken kids. So, yeah,
he did. I saw it with the magnifying glass in the yard.
And may we always remember the sacrifice of Auntie.
Sutton Creek Productions for $5. Disney Star Wars is the deconstructed hero's journey. Whew, I wish they had this,
guys.
I still don't know who the villain of this show is.
Have the Jedi ever been so uncool as in this show? Is this the lowest? I mean, like, they're so freaking uncool now. Like, when Luke thinks about being the Jedi, I just want Obi-Wan now to say, Luke, you really don't want to be like them. They're way, way lame.
My only response to this is that Disney successfully deconstructed the audience because there's very few of them.
Ooh, I like that. Sabretooth Raptor for $5. Lauren, if you were a showrunner of a KOTOR movie or TV series, which KOTOR era would you do? KOTOR 1, 2, or the KOTOR MMO? Villains, characters?
I'm not going to select any of those. I would stay instead that I would do the John Jackson Miller comic books with Zane Carrick and do the first story arc. It's really great stuff.
So Lauren just broke that guy's heart.
Yep. Andrew McKinnon for 1,000 clips. It's Chilean pesos. The Bold Lizard is Asian guy's master. The Bold Lizard.
Is that the Harvey Weinstein character that they always fly the ships down to?
They got
sitting down there with the sideburns.
Jack Borkins?
Well, all I can say is this show cost like 17 Godzilla minus ones. So
that one Asian guy, Indian guy from Broken Lizard, that guy?
He's talking.
Oh wait, I like that
nepotism.
guy. Oh,
nepotism. Jedi Master Nepo.
Yeah.
Right? I do want to say that this is going to sound bad. The best thing in the show is Manny Jacinto.
You know what? That does sound bad. Do you know how you can pay penance?
Shut up.
Let's see. SFX Sabertooth Raptor for 5. Which old Star Wars LARTs games, LucasArts games, would you all make into a movie or TV series and had complete control of it? Which would you do? Panel question. I'm stealing it. I want to steal it.
I'm digging it first. I'm stealing from you. Okay, look. They really love Manny. Like the power of one, the power of the two, the power of Manny. Manny Cal, the guy with the head. The thing. Yes, thank you. You have the perfect show in him. He solves crimes. He's dead. I think it works perfectly. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I was going to say Yoda stories, but
Oh.
What game are you talking about?
Yoda stories.
Grim Fandango.
Yeah.
But that's not. He says Star Wars LucasArts games.
Well, I don't care.
If it's any LucasArts game, it is obvious. The obvious answer is Monkey Island.
No, it's Day of the Tentacle, and the tentacles that kidnap Leslye and Kathleen and take them somewhere
By the way, Day of Tentacle was great, but still, I'm telling you, Manny say it again.
Calavera?
Yes, that guy. That guy is the best. I'm telling you. Look, if you want to go back to it before Coco, this was Coco before there was Coco. Coco. It was very good.
In all seriousness, I'm doing Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, the pod racing.
Oh, that's a great
I know. That's what I was going to say. And then it could be like Days of Thunder crossed with Ferrari and people dying.
Okay. Anyway. This positioning is good. I like this with this super chat up here covering up most of the screen. That's good.
Yeah.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Can we make it bigger?
Let's fix it. Perfect.
This is what the new Warhammer Space Marine 2 game is going to look like.
Old Flicks Joe for 5. Do you think it's a possibility that Khmer is the brother of Osha and May? I think Khmer saw the death of the witches when Khmer was a child, and he was like, Khmer.
So how much can you ask yourself this question? How many green things are between her and him? Or were they even in the same soundstage? That was terrible.
What's Khmer?
Can we just have one planet that doesn't look like it's shot on Earth, please?
Let's respond to the super chat.
All right, sorry.
Do you think do we think it's possible? I do. One, I will say,
that
I think it's possible because there's so much nonsense in this show. But I don't think anything is coming out of nowhere on this show because even Leslye Headland said,
I know.
It's predictable. She's quote unquote done her job.
No, I think Queer
Khmer is courageous.
I think Queer is dad, actually.
You think he's the father?
He's been dad the entire time?
Yeah, I think I'm your father is actually is Queer.
But now he's asking her to get into the bath with them? No.
You don't know that.
No,
Look, I mean, you didn't know he was down bad for that. You just, he was just like, hey, you want to take a bath in this salt water?
Later in life, Osha writes a diary that gets linked to the galactic journalists.
True. Yeah. It gets leaked. There's some bad stuff in that one.
All right, Marcus Squintess for
let's talk about Corn Pop. Corn Pop's going to be in the water with Khmer soon. That'll be an interesting thing.
He's
rubbing his hairy legs.
He's a bad dude.
But who's Khmer?
Marcus Squintess for $5.
Oh, come on, guys, think about it. No, pause for a second, Jonas. We got to pause. Wilton figured out what the name is for. Come here, come here. I'm a bad guy, but you like me. Come here. This is the most terrible thing ever.
Remember, he does the Force Scorpion move, right? In the Forest too. Get over here.
Sounds like name appropriation.
Do you think he's going to be in the next Mortal Kombat? I mean, this is the perfect villain.
Friendship.
Okay, sorry.
If the Acolyte had already gone full Yord prior to this episode, at what level of Machiavellian heck does this now rate?
Wilden, did you just self-censor your little trolly self? Were you a good troll?
If Floral hears me, I get booted off because of the whole PG-13 thing.
Lose access to X again.
Hey, wait a minute. I just noticed that in the background you're directing people to that park place, but it seems confusing. Moulton?
Well, it's because the World Wide Web is everywhere.
Yeah, but those signs may disorient people.
Will they?
Yeah. Hey, why? Why do you have your life-size comics division doll on your shelf there?
Oh, a really good friend gave me one.
Oh, nice.
Wilton doesn't have any friends. Marcus Squintess for $5. If the Acolyte had already gone full Yord prior to this episode, at what level of Machiavellian heck does this now rate?
Deja vu.
Wait, I heard that already.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fail.
I had just assumed it was unrelated.
You are one pathetic loser.
Well, Marcus, you got your money's worth. That sucker got read twice.
I never thought he could read. Butter Biscuit for $2. Pro, stop cutting off now. Ascend, my son. Best part. Pro, I'm telling you right now, if you play the clip, I'm gone.
Okay, I'm not going to play it.
The crab people shall finally reign supreme.
Crab people, crab.
All right, now, and Bobby Stevens for $4.99. Lesbian Headlamp wrote what she knows, sending woman to talk with man who greeted them naked.
Right, this was just a normal Tuesday.
Nakey, Star Wars Snakey.
Yep. Marcus Squintess for $5. Not even a Cannonball Run level blooper reel at the end of this travesty will help it. Oh man, to find out these people had a sense of humor, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Rod Thunderheart for 10 Canadian dollars. Hail Pro and panel, I disagree about the Force and what lesbian headcase says. Even Ben Kenobi said the Force is in everyone. I practice, I'm going to say Ki, Gung, and the Force is Ki. Could be Chi, depending on how you pronounce it. Everyone has it, just to practice it.
Just don't say those two words together too fast.
This is definitely a Lorne super chat. Lorne, your thoughts on this one?
I think that's basically what we said earlier. I'm in agreement. Yeah.
Go. And this one for Lorne, Sabertooth Raptor for $5. Which is your favorite blaster type? It can be a rifle or a pistol. All panel question, Lorne 2.
I have two. The first would be the Briar pistol, which was originally used by Kyle Katarn, but was appropriated by Andor in that show. The other would be the DC-17M rifle that the Republic Commandos use.
I'm going to say that mine is the DL-44.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say that my favorite blaster, because that's what they have in Star Wars, is the Stormtrooper one.
Pew, pew. What model?
The black one.
That's racist.
Almost Wilton.
All right. Well, we
the coolest one.
Jonas, do we have any more super chats for Lorne at this time?
No, we do not.
All right, Lorne, this is the part of the night where we bid you adieu. The folks out there love you, though, and we're hoping to have you read those subtitles for the entire Acolyte series in a dramatic reading that will be fundraising for children all over the world. Lorne, you love children all over the world. We know you love children all over the world. We love children. Not the same way, though, that you might see in the Acolyte. But, Lorne, we're looking forward to your charitable giving very soon. So, Lorne, thank you for being here. Tell the folks what's coming out soon on your channel.
I just finished reading Vision of the Future, which is the final novel in the Hand of Thrawn duology. I'm taking a couple of days off, and then I will put together a video with some of my thoughts about that series. So that'll be coming probably in a day or two. Still trying to decide what we're going to read next, so stay tuned for that.
Sounds like the Abeloth stuff.
No, I've been kind of thinking the options on the table right now are Shadows of the Empire. I was thinking about maybe doing the William C. Dietz novellas that covered Dark Forces and Jedi Knight, or maybe even dipping my toe into the Darth Bane trilogy. So I'm still kind of trying to make up my mind.
I do have one question before you leave. What is Boba Fett's gun? Firearm. Blaster.
Oh, God, I know it, but it slipped my mind. Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on it. It slipped my mind.
Lorne, my question for you is
for Wilton's. Yeah, you did. For Wilton's edification, your favorite blaster is the E11.
All right. Well, Lorne, I've got a question for you. I have not yet had the opportunity to ask you about these rumors of Luke Skywalker, Abeloth. And the idea that Ahsoka is going to defeat Abeloth instead of Luke, and where that might go with the Mandalorian movie. Have you pondered anything about these rumors that are coming out now? What's your take on all of it?
I haven't really thought about it in depth. We've had conversations about this in the past. I do believe they're going to try to lead to Abeloth. We'll see. I figure that if that's the direction they're going, we'll probably get some concrete information in the near future. I do think that they are probably scrambling, trying to figure out how do we try and bring people back. Bringing Luke in again is going to be one way that they're going to try and do that, but that's not going to work if the sequel trilogy is still in place. Finally, I think it would be entirely in keeping with their mode of operation to bring Luke in to try and bring the fans back and then give all those accomplishments to all the other characters. So
yes, that's what yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I expect from them right now. I don't trust them, and I don't think anybody else should either.
Just to make us even more angry. I love it. And Filoni will give all of his Filoni baloney characters all the accolades that once upon a time were given to Luke. That's a perfect analysis. Lauren, thank you for being here, and we wish you the very best. Hope to have you back on the channel real soon, and we'll see you, sir.
You bet. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Well, and now that Lauren's leaving, now I can actually clarify that Kyle Katarn, he's in the EU, and that's not canon. So that means that Andor did not appropriate anything of his.
I'm still here. Hey, Pro.
Ah, dang it.
Go ahead and kick him.
Sorry. Lauren, would you like to respond to the troll statements at this time?
Troll? What troll?
That's true.
Good point.
Wow, that was amazing.
Oh,
wait,
hi,
he's
Welton.
back.
We're not sure what happened. Had technical difficulties. Something went awry. Not sure. Hamsters were poisoned. You know how it goes. We're also going to be losing poor Jonas at this time. He says there was a smell, a panelist that was nearby for a while. He can't take. Jonas, tell the folks out there about that Park Place and what you guys have coming out.
I'm so tired, Pro. We cannot get out. The end came soon, and we hear drums in the deep.
Hey, Jonas, here's a question for you. Is there going to be a That Park Place show, despite the fact that it's going to be Independence Day when it's supposed to be out? Are you guys
Yes,
gonna do a
there
show?
is. You should all be there and be square over there on That Park Place live at noon on Thursday.
Wow.
But more importantly, between now and then, you should check out That Game Place, 3 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. And the longer I go on, it could be today. Who knows?
But you heard it here first, folks. An Independence Day show, July 4th, for That Park Place. Let the heavens ring out. All right, Jonas. Well, thank you for stopping by and being the executive producer extraordinaire that you are. Get some rest. You only have a 20-hour workday coming up tomorrow. Culture?
Wait, what's my title? He got a title bump. I got nothing.
I don't think executive producer is a title bump.
You're regional executive producer extraordinaire.
That actually puts me over him. So I'm
weren't
good.
Going to say that. Yeah, he's assistant to the. Yeah.
Here's the thing: your advertisement sucks because you say Yat Game PLA, so that makes people think that you're like some weird fake thing.
Read the whole thing now.
Which game place? That Game Place.
Yeah, whatever.
All
Seems
right.
like a knockoff.
I actually had to spell it for somebody. They actually said that Game Place. I was like,
That's why though, because no one can see the words. Culture.
Seeing words is
You should
important.
maybe consider reformatting so people can conveniently see when you're located in a
I
smaller
can't believe
panel.
you
White
can
Well, I
back,
must go like a ninja, and I don't have a smoke bomb. So
Jonas,
Power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Get him back in here. Jonas, get back in here for a minute. You can't go yet. Jonas, you've got to give us your numerical score.
oh,
What's the score for the Acolyte? The worst
You mean-
episode we've ever seen.
it's like scoring a bottle of ether. It's
That
so
sounds fun.
so boring. This is a struggle. I gave the first 2 episodes a 5 because of production value and
You have,
things like
by the
that.
way, you have inflated every review score we've had so far for the show.
Jonas inflates everything.
Do it again. You can hear it. He's going to give it a higher
He's
score.
going to do it again. He's going to be like,
I'm not giving it higher than a 5. No.
Well, right, but you're going to give it a higher. You're going to give it like a 3.
And I gave the other one a 7. Last one a 7 because at least it was so bad it's good, right? I'm going to give this one a 2.
Bigot.
I'm gonna tell you that you're behind on thumbnails for that game place. How about
I
that?
am.
All right.
Everyone go
folks,
right now. There's a video on that game place. You could watch it. You could watch it right now in the background because they're not going to say anything interesting on here.
True.
Get out of here, Jonas. Get out of here. All right. It's safe now. Wilton.
Yes.
Before we start talking. Oh, geez, before.
Did he like drink an energy drink before this so he could try and be funny or something?
Wilton, before we get back to the Acolyte, which we are, folks, we're going to give it our review score, and there's another Leslye Headland item that we must discuss it. It's so important. But before we do,
yes,
we gotta know. The folks out there are wondering now that Jonas is gone. What's up with the beef between you and Jonas? How did this thing start?
What beef?
It's what's for dinner.
It's like a bromance.
You guys got a bromance going on?
He shows me a little bit. Oh yeah. Jonas, he loves to snuggle me.
I tell you what, you turn a guy down for a date, you tell him you're straight, and he just never leaves you alone.
Where did he come from?
I don't know, but this is what people believe to be the relationship that you and Jonas have. This is you constantly trying to attack Jonas, not much landing except for the oven. There are those out there, perhaps those who have been talking to Jose. They're beginning to wonder, Wilton, when are you going to deliver on your promise to take down Jonas? What's in your quiver? What do you have that will make the man quiver?
Well, apparently I just need to make him feel bad. So
official dregs for 2. Wilton is my friend. Jonas is my bro in Christ.
Thanks, dregs.
Official dregs. Dude, Official Dregs was great today on Twitter. I had fun today on Twitter. You know that game place is making noise on Twitter?
I feel like that's a plug.
It's because of this guy. That park place. It's like almost like we're related or something. I don't know.
Now, Wilton, you've not watched any of the episodes of The Acolyte. Is that right?
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay. Wilton, thank you for that very specific answer. What we need to know is, as someone who is very good at trolling the world,
sure,
what do you think is in the minds of people like Ryan Johnson and Leslye Headland, who clearly just want to troll entire fandoms at the detriment of the franchise, maybe even Kathleen Kennedy? What is going on in their minds that they are trolling entire, massive consumer bases that would otherwise pay them?
Well, the first thought that I initially had when that discussion began was that they would make some really good parents together. I mean, think of it. The babies that they could have, the spawn they could raise.
You know what? You make a good point. If Ryan and Leslye got together, those babies' heads would be as squarish as you've ever seen. We're talking about they would make the Cybertruck look curvy.
And all those negatives, they're bound to make a positive. So
interesting.
I think that that would be
Did you just make a math argument?
What's math?
Oh shoot.
So, but no, I think that what's going through their mind, they're thinking that they understand things. Yeah.
Wilton, as you look over here at this, at this clip, can you fathom the level of boredom that this clip is? Because we suffered through this for 30 minutes. Can you fathom just how boring this episode was?
Makes me think of Castaway.
But with multiple people.
One's Wilson, one's the Bo, and the other is Tom Hanks. You can guess which one is which.
There's no Tom Hanks in this show. Don't you dare. And Tom Hanks is overrated, but there's still no Tom Hanks in the show.
Okay.
All right. Well, Wilton, I think now that you've chased Jonas away, your job is done. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wilton, tell the folks out there where they can find you and your other felt-like friends and what you have coming out from under that rock.
Well, you can find me on Floral from Under a Rock, which is conveniently named after Floral, who's from under a rock. And we got our shows on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you've ever heard of that Marvin Movie Monster guy, he has his show thing that he tries to do at 8 on Wednesdays. What you can do is you go to him, and then, because something far greater is coming, you leave him, hang out with us, and then you have an extra hour of fun. And then Floral actually has this Church Under a Rock thing that he does on Sundays, so you can hang out with that. Fridays is Fortnite Fridays on Floral from Under Rock. I don't know, I'm just trying to think. I got so much stuff going on. It's weird. Anyway, that's what's going on.
Well, Wilton, thank you for stopping by and being the target of so many of Jonas's one-liners and quips. It was a fun time, and I know you'll get him back real soon.
Well, Jonas is a bully, and I forgive him.
He is. He is a bully.
Thank you.
To you.
Thank you.
And other very low IQ individuals. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Love you all.
Grow that other horn. Later.
Don't join gangs.
All right, folks. We're going to continue on with the Acolyte. First of all, though, before we get to that, we've got this Leslye Headland news that don't know if you guys saw this, but it's a heck of a thing to see. I want to show this. Put this up on screen now. Folks, we know that if we were to put the Mary Sue through the typical analysis we do here on the channel, that bad things would happen. We don't have to go into details about what bad things would happen, but we're sure they would not care for us playing that video, so we're not going to, even though it has nuggets in there that we would just love to dissect for you. But rather, what we'll do is a larger analysis of this. Leslye Headland in here basically says that she gets it. Bad Twin has a giant face tattoo in every episode up until the switcheroo, and then she doesn't have a giant face tattoo. And yeah, that's kind of funny, isn't it? So she figures that out. But I just want to show this to you, Culture, to you, John. Take a look at this. This is from the Mary Sue. I have had no part in doing any of this. I just want to show the statistics on it.
Oh, wow.
Leslye Headland, a showrunner, a writer, a director on the Star Wars live action show, one of 2 for Disney Plus this year, has generated almost 3,000 views total on the Mary Sue. Not making fun of the Mary Sue, simply pointing out that Leslye Headland might not be the draw that you would think. We're checking her off as a potential guest, as we're afraid our viewership would go down. Less than 3,000 views in 3 days, and the dislikes, even on the Mary Sue, triple what the likes are from an interview with Leslye Headland, a half-hour interview with a Star Wars showrunner. Guys, what do you make of the idea that you can have a Star Wars director on your show, on your channel that is largely dedicated? I mean, the Mary Sue is essentially about Rey Skywalker, and they can't get more than 3,000 views on Leslye Headland. Is that not the sheer sign of apathy for the Acolyte?
John?
I mean, obviously there's YouTube algorithm and things like that, but if you look at their YouTube channel, it's kind of dead.
Small.
So why would she go on it then? What inspires a Star Wars director to go on a teeny weeny tiny channel?
You look at this. This is how a lot of these people operate, especially if you follow any kind of like comic book stuff. These comic book creators will go on like the tiniest little channels ever, but they'll never want to go on like the big channels where they can actually sell their comics to a much wider audience, because they just want to hang out with their quote unquote people that are ideologically aligned with them, and they know they're not going to get challenged. They know they're not going to be any kind of hard questions. If you watched any of this interview, the woman doing the interview is Rachel Leishman, and she's just pushing over everything that Leslye has to say and everything in the Acolyte. That's exactly why they go on channels like that, shows like that.
John, when you look at the metrics, because I know you do, because I do too, but when you look at the metrics for things like this, especially for, the published version of the Mary Sue, and then you look at the YouTube channel for the Mary Sue, what strikes you when it comes to how many people supposedly are there versus how many people are actually there?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, because obviously print online readers are different than people who watch YouTube. There's obviously some crossover and things like that, but I do think that there is a different audience, people who read articles and people who watch videos. I probably I write a lot of articles, and that's probably because I like to read. I read more than I do watch. I just see how I learn and how I gather information. I'm more of a reader than I am a watcher. But yeah, so there's obviously that. There's a lot of different other caveats and stuff like that. And it looks like they don't really have a good plan for their YouTube channel. If you look at it, it's kind of all over the place, scattershot. Doesn't look like it's very well organized. Because obviously there are huge, like massive woke channels out there, right? That have significant subscribers and significant viewers.
And I'm going to say something that's controversial. You ready?
Yeah.
Pro, be ready to bring that video back up.
Ooh, I'm ready.
The lesbian handicraft is not what it's supposed to be made out to be. If you look in the background here, the ladder truss shelving that she's using there, first of all, you can all build this at home. I can teach you. Those are just regular trusses. Those are 8-foot trusses you can buy at Home Depot. And she's put a fiberboard or MDF as the shelves for that. And then she cut some pieces of wood there to like make the front and back of the shelf so it doesn't sag. So, overall, this looks like she might, actually do something to make shelves for her house, but it doesn't scream success to me for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Do you think this is even hers? There's companies that literally do this. They make backdrops for people.
Okay. So
might have been done by her wife, nepotism.
No, sure. Nepo is well represented in the series. And, this does strike me as somebody who would know how to use a whip really well. But outside of that, no. So,
well, I just want to show folks where you might go instead if you'd like to get better viewership. And that would be, of course, going here to the Trent Report, folks.
Yeah.
Where John Trent doesn't have to have Leslye Headland, and he still gets 12,000 views on this video over here. And quite a few views over here on Lord of the Rings, matching up pretty much with Leslye, talking about the Rings of Power. So maybe, John, do you want Leslye Headland on your channel, the Trent Report? Would you let Leslye on?
I actually wouldn't mind.
She's in my earpiece right now.
I actually wouldn't mind doing an interview with her.
I'm being honest.
That's so funny because you and I both would enjoy that. The question is, would she show up? Because according to the previous producer, and I know you know this, one of the people that actually mentored her into the business and got her from, to The Bachelorette, which was her only significant project outside of Russian Doll, which was, but is that guy that, kind of said she was based.
Yeah, Dallas Saunier, I think is his name.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I guess there's a video of Brett Cooper, who also was going to be in that failed project.
Yeah,
she actually did a video on it too, talking about that. I just haven't gotten around to covering that.
You should, because let me tell you. First of all, Brett Cooper, awesome, dynamic, and great on the platforms. But she's an actual actress, and people should know that.
And she'll be doing the new Stone White movie, and we'll see how that compares to Rachel Zegler and the 7 reshoots. Sure. So that'll be fun. Folks, we've got another guest joining us now.
The dwarves.
7 reshoots, right? 7 reshoots.
Yeah.
Did I get it wrong? Did I mispronounce it? Oh, okay. New guest.
Who could that be? Let's go see, boys and girls.
All right, folks, it is Marvin, the movie monster. Marvin, have you seen the latest Acolyte episode?
I managed to stay awake through it. Yeah,
Marvin, I've said that if I were not forced to review this thing, there's no way I would have watched it. Like, I would have ended this. Gosh, maybe I could have made it 10 minutes. I don't think the average person is actually going to watch it. What's your assessment of it? Give us your quick review of this most recent episode.
I mean, I wish I could come in here like guns a-blazing the way I did last week with like this big dramatic review of like all the things that I hated and all the things that happened that was so nonsensical. But the key phrase in what I just said is all the things that happened last week. Nothing happened this week.
It's like being asked to review a restaurant that gave you an empty plate.
Yes, it was nothing. They both talked to people. They both talked to their respective dudes, and she creepily watched Asian Ezra Miller take a bath, and I'm sure like the creepy Raylos who have been shipping her with Asian Ezra Miller since the second he covered her with a blanket last week are just going to have a field day.
All three of them.
Yeah, I've actually seen an alarming amount of them because for some reason these are the same people that will sit there and they'll be like, if you like Tony Soprano or Walter White, you're a toxic human being. But oh my God, like, could you imagine if like Rey and Kylo Ren like kiss? Like they want to ship every woman in Star Wars with some genocidal maniac.
And they themselves have never been shipped whatsoever. Is that
of course.
Fair? Okay.
Maybe shipped to
Marvin,
Abu Dhabi like Nermal the cat on Garfield.
Marvin, we waited a long time. Good reference. Wow. Marvin, we've waited a long time to see the lightsaber whip used in live action. Did it fulfill all of the expectations you had coming in?
I for one just felt very safe knowing that we had a unthreatening flaccid lightsaber for once. I mean, it's about time. We didn't have to
a light ribbon dancer. I was happy though because
yes.
A couple of episodes ago, one of those bugs flew straight into a non-moving lightsaber that was just held up in the air like an air traffic control. And this time, the bug was taken out with a light whip. But if you've already taken it out with a stationary lightsaber, the whip seems a little unnecessary, I would say. We've already identified that the only way to be threatened by these bugs is if you have a tiny flashlight. I also have another question. Culture and John, and you, all three of you, please. Wasn't the little pip robot flown away on the back of the big baddie, and he was eaten by bugs? But now he's fine, and Pip is okay too. So help me understand. Did they want to hug him?
And the badger picked it up.
But them and Otta picked it up.
But did the bugs just want to hug him? Like what happened there? I thought we were supposed he's not got a scratch. These are friendly bugs.
He's kind of doing a little dance in the air as the CGI bugs are just kind of around him. And then next thing we know, he's back on the ground and taking care of Osho.
He's okay. The bugs wanted a hug.
Well, I feel like we're discounting what could be possibly wounds on him.
And not tramp stamps.
Sure.
Oh, I didn't.
Marvin?
I thought all that stuff was from the previous, way in the past.
Yeah, like 1,000, 12,000, giga-thousand years ago.
I mean, there were black streaks on his arms and stuff.
Bug poo. He's been bug pooed. He's been slimed. Mm-hmm. Marvin, give us your thoughts on where you think the Acolyte's going to go, and how low can it go in terms of audience retention?
Where I think it went this week, Unknown Planet, I would be shocked if this is not revealed to be the planet that Luke Skywalker died on a rock on. Because it looks just like it. It looks just like it. Yeah. And there were baby versions of what looked to be the green milk monster there. So I was just like, okay, I guess that's where we are.
Oh, no, Marvin, you're right. Those are the baby version of the milked creature. You're right.
That's what it looked like to me.
We didn't catch that, guys. They have the same. They have the same trunk. They're the baby versions.
There was a scene though where there was 2 adults and one child. So, and the adults were still really tiny.
Oh, sorry, Marvin. We're idiots. John's right.
No, maybe. Yeah, you never know. You never know. But it definitely did look like that place. The cherry on top of the awfulness of this show would be if they somehow tie The Last Jedi into it.
Culture.
Well, no, I mean, okay, so you guys are suggesting if you think those are the blue milkmen or green milkmen.
Maybe they grow a bunch. Maybe a few of them really get big.
Well, no, but you could be suggesting that something happened to that planet that made them evolve faster.
Oh, you mean Darth Manny he's using his dark powers to make blue milk and green milk creatures.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I can see it. Yep, totally.
Remember, Luke says there's a cave underneath where he's at. That's where the dark side is, and Ray goes there immediately.
Well, I mean,
I also think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you don't know the power of the dark side. I'm just saying.
I legitimately still think that this guy was stabbed in the back as a Jedi. Okay, he died, and he was reanimated by Mama Yas to be her meat puppet, and he's just filled with fart cloud energy like that guy on Ahsoka was, and that's what everything he says ties into her. Last week with the I want to use my power the way I want to use it. This is about power on who has the right to use it. And the power of 2 this week. Like everything he says is so like blatantly tied into Mama Yas that like it's so telegraphed that she's actually going to be the thing behind this.
Can anyone explain to me why he wanted to take Good Twin to the island? Like, what is the motivation? What can she possibly do for him?
He told Soul that he wants an apprentice or an acolyte.
Okay, so
he wants an acolyte.
Okay, what about Good Twin says that she's the one to do that? I don't understand why he didn't go to the Wookiee and be like, hey, instead of me singeing your hair lightly and killing you with that, you want to go do some like island stuff? I'll bathe. You want to do that?
Who knows? Leslye Edlin says in that Mary Sue interview that we were talking about a little bit earlier that she has some kind of dark side and he's gonna like give her what she wants.
Okay.
I mean, literally, there's like I don't think this show is complicated at all. Leslye Edlin like makes that clear in like everything she says and everything we've watched. It's not complicated.
It's also not human. It's subhuman level writing. Okay, let's do it this way. Is this worse than Willow?
I didn't watch Willow.
Oh yeah, no, it's way worse than Willow.
Okay, Willow is a tax write-off.
Willow is definitely a tax write-off, but this is Willow
Not
wasn't
Star
like
Wars.
it wasn't. Yeah, it's not Star Wars. It's not offensive. Like a bad Willow is a bad. It's okay. It's a bad Willow. A bad like. What this does to Star Wars is, oh my God, like it just destroys it. There's no coming back from this. It's the windmill. Well, it's the point of no return.
Okay, so what we need to do, John, Jonas, yes. I know you're out there, is research what the viewership was for Willow as compared to this show. And whether or not this is worth writing off another $200 million.
Willow didn't even chart on the Nielsen.
I feel like Willow charted the first episode. Did it barely make like the subcategory?
Okay, but time out. I don't think we're comparing apples to apples. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I believe that the charts have actually slipped. So that despite the fact that you're still seeing a lot of things that are Netflix that are number one, I think the overall numbers may have slid with the number of people watching streaming.
Well, definitely Disney Plus. They might get lucky and get this thing on the charts a few times, but I mean, as we've said, it's like a third of Ahsoka, and Ahsoka was considered a failure.
But a failure is only getting 3% of your total subscriber base to watch something. That's what this show is. I like you said, I mean, and John's already working because I put it in his brain. But what's going to happen is I really do believe that the total number of viewers, just like the same thing that's happening at the theaters, has slid because entertainment's no longer entertaining.
Do you like that instead of aiming at his neck with the lightsaber, she pulls the lightsaber out, but shoves him in the sternum with her little hands in the hilt? The show is so stupid. Nothing about it is cool.
Yeah, and
just has every right to kill him. He literally just butchered.
The only thing I liked in this episode.
So she's in love now, John.
The only thing that I liked in this episode is the fact that Squid Games was not an idiot. Because in the whole beginning, I'm like, oh my God, they're killing the one halfway decent character they've created in this by having him not know that
No,
the
he
guy
is
who
an
could supposedly-
idiot. The Badger has to tell him with sniffy powers
Oh, the Badger
that
tells
that's
him.
the Badgerwin. Yes.
I missed that. Okay, yes.
I'm
okay,
sorry
so
to
he is
ruin
an
your day,
idiot.
Marvin. He is.
He is an idiot. Never mind the fact that like he could
It's also,
supposedly read minds, and she has a face tattoo.
Well, the face tattoo disappeared when it was convenient.
But
you know,
that's one part we didn't talk about was at that kind of near the end of the episode there. She runs off to go. The power comes back on. She runs off to the comms room to radio the Jedi to like basically come to their location, and then he shoots her with a stun gun.
right? She's doing the right thing for some reason.
Yeah. By the way, Angry Badger's name is Them at Otta. Of Them at Otta's Jug Band Christmas.
I love it. I get the reference. All right, folks.
There are
he
holes
said-
in the plot, Pro, but there ain't no hole in a wash tub.
We said that Soul. Gosh, that's good. We said that Soul is unfortunately an idiot in the show, but those who are not idiots, our super chatters. Let's bring them up again. Want to say thank you to John Maynard for that 50, getting Lorne hopefully on board for a charity stream, and he seemed more up for it if we do it based on reading those subtitles. So hopefully we can make this happen, folks. We've got SFX F13 F314 Sabertooth Raptor for 5. How about doing the subtitles with the Three Stooges in the background? Well, when we get Lorne to do this charity stream, folks, I'm telling you, we're gonna throw some stuff at this. It's not just gonna be Lorne. We're gonna have some other things. We'll get Jonas in a Wookiee costume or something. I don't know. We'll make it happen. Don't worry. We've got Ryan Griffin for $9.99. If I approve a donation to kids in Lorne's name, will you do it? Well, that's up to Lorne, but Lorne seemed more likely than not towards the end, and hopefully we can give him that little nudge that will get him reading
Is
subtitles.
this to get Lorne to? Is this to get Lorne to watch the show?
So
Yeah.
Lorne is sort of refusing to watch the show, but he is seemingly willing to read the subtitles from every episode in the order and play all the characters for a charity stream for children all over the world.
So Forbes says,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to go back to the Willow views. Forbes reports that Samba TV said they only did 481,000 households for the first 5 days of release. They did a 2-episode premiere.
And how many households does Samba TV say was for the Acolyte? Which it's got to drop like a.
They have refused to report on it.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of these companies don't want to report on this one. You know.
Yeah, they just do their top 10 list now.
Exactly.
Like that Goodreel website that we're talking about, like they just completely ruined their entire reputation.
Well, don't forget either that Samba TV was trying to get in with the industry to be respected at the level of Nielsen, and they were kicked out, and that was just following their revelation that Disney was struggling with one of their shows. I don't remember the show now.
Yeah.
Which one? Do you remember the show now, Culture? What was the show that they reported and Disney was angry?
Might as well have been Willow. I mean, to be fair,
might have been Kenobi.
But the minute you start telling the truth, you are out of access. And see, that's the problem with Access Media. I mean, Parrot Analytics was supposed to be the salve to solve this issue, except for the fact that everybody realized that it's just snake oil. I mean, it's one of the first videos I did on my channel was like, why does anybody care what they have to say? All they're talking about is who's talking about this, even if it's negative. Yeah. And it's like, okay, now in the modern age, it used to be that any conversation was good conversation for whatever you were doing. That's not true anymore. Because guess what? If you have bad word of mouth now, you're bad. And that's what's been happening across the board. And that's why some movies never get out of the gate. And it's why they are terrified when on film, television, gaming. By the way, gaming is going to get bigger over the course of the next 2 years, folks. I'm just telling you, not just because I'm, part of that game place, but because it's basically the last form of entertainment they can forcefully invade. When you have Cabrutus, you have us, you have John, you have people of stature telling you that this is compromised and this is why. Imagine how many millions of dollars you're not going to make. I mean, John just wrote a story about a game studio that's going out of business because they landed on the, do not buy list, for lack of a better way of describing it. The
mass
Cabrillas put
layoffs happened today.
Yeah,
Mhm.
500, 600 people. See ya. And
Thanks,
that
Sweet
whole
Baby
studio
Inc.
is going to shut down. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying thank you, Sweet Baby Inc., because that's what did it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, look, Disney's reputation's already in the not great place. I'm going to say kindly. And after this show, who's going to come back for Star Wars? Who's going to come back for Marvel? Who's going to come back for
I don't know how low Star Wars can go, but it's over. Like, no one wants to watch anything to do with Star Wars anymore. This is terrible. We'll get into review scores in just a moment, folks. But of course, Jonas gave this a 2 out of 10 this episode, and Jonas has been boosting the score over and over. By the way, I think he would have given it a 4 out of 10, but we peer pressured him, and he deserved it. I gave it a 0. I've already given it a 0 out of 10.
I was going to give it a 3, and he was like, "Oh, I got to do lower than that then."
Yeah, exactly. I give it a 0 out of 10. It is not worth watching. It is painful. There's nothing to be derived from it. It is drivelous. Anyway, we'll read this super chat, which is not. Thomas Hubble for 199. Power to the 199 out there. Harvey Weinstein as Jabba the Hutt. I think those characters where they land the ships every time, those are homages to Harvey. I just think that. Kitty Bear. Nice to see Kitty Bear out there too, by the way. For 2, the power of 1. The power of 2. The power of money. You know what?
The power of 1. The power of 2. The power of many. No! No! Now, ascend, my son.
Love it, love it, love it.
I want to point out we've got a famous celebrity in the chat here, Jay, aka Jay.
Oh yeah, I see Jay out there, and Jay is making more money off of the Acolyte than Disney ever will, because Disney will go negative on this. So congratulations, and Jay, we'd invite you, but we're wrapping up, so you've arrived just in time to not get in line to be on the panel. But no worries there. We'll have you tomorrow, I'm sure. 8-hour live stream coming up tomorrow, folks. No, just kidding.
What?
No.
There was
all right.
No,
go ahead, John.
No.
Go ahead, go ahead, Culture. Round robin, here we go.
All I was going to say is Seth is correct. It's a show about nothing. I watched that, and it went on for a long time, and Seinfeld made a lot of money. So there you go.
If it started off with the Acolyte, I would understand it. If it started off that way.
Honestly.
Or if the character said, dark side, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, okay, so here's what you do.
With threads.
Exactly. You do bad lip reading plus Seinfeld, and you replace all the music with all the little inner.
I gotta say, the thread is kind of interesting. Yeah. I'm looking forward to finding out where it goes.
I think that would be
perfect. That would be interesting.
Let me call Jerry. We'll see if we can line that up.
All right. We've got Nepo Wars is being claimed here. This by Sutton Creek Productions for 2. Nepo Wars: Rise of the Snowflake.
Hey, did you notice how whenever Jedi Master Leslye Headland's wife talked to anybody, it was very clear that every Jedi in that temple wants to be anywhere other than talking to her.
Even in the writing.
When she was like, where she's like just dunking on the guy.
Yeah, and then when she's like, "I'm gonna come with you to the thing," they're like, "Oh no, you don't want to. Please do anything else other than be near me."
Here, we'll give you sidekick Gay Napoleon Dynamite. He'll be your Jedi friend.
You just picture Leslye John. In the director's chair.
No, it's all good. John, we got to get a numerical score from you. It's part of what we do here. 0 to 10. 0 is the worst garbage you have seen. 10 is Citizen Kane. 10 is Godfather Part 2. 10 is your favorite movie. Where does this land?
So before I get to that, I do want to point out that there's actually some potential on what they could have done. Like that forest planet has some pretty cool aesthetic. They could have actually done some really interesting attacks.
Oregon is a lovely state. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you think Batman Begins, the dock scene, and how Batman just terrifies these drug smugglers and all the things that he does. You've got the Daredevil garage scene where he's taking out the Russians. Like those are like epic fight scenes that this could have been, because you have kind of that dark, gloomy aesthetic setting and everything, and you've got this like Sith guy. He should have just been like terrifying these people, killing them, like really like messing with their senses, like having them like devolve into fear. Like, and it would actually have been somewhat decent, but they completely like just missed the ball on like a lot of this stuff. And it's pretty much like the entire show is just like awful. But I don't know. That was just something I wanted to discuss there, because I do feel like there's like huge opportunities that they could have made something actually decent, really good, and they just chose not to.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
But as far as this episode, it's a 1. They made something.
All right, 1 out of 10. Culture. Get your camera back on, Culture. Come on, there you go. All right, Culture. Numerical scale, 0 to 10. What are you giving it?
Okay, all right. Overall, as John said, there was so much potential here. I mean, you give 4 of us an opportunity to write this episode, it's way better. They're suffering from, okay, so here, let's go down the list. Pacing, not great. The storytelling mechanisms are uneven. Character development is a negative 1,000 because they are all over the place. Exactly, John.
Wait a minute, Culture. When she puts on the helmet, you weren't like, "Oh my gosh, she's wearing the helmet! I knew
No,
it!
actually,
Oh my gosh!"
and then minus 11 billion for the Darth Vader mechanical breathing apparatus sounds at the end, but
Which there's no mechanical breathing apparatus in the helmet apparently.
No, or
That was-
anywhere else for
yeah,
that matter.
Yeah.
Let me stitch my helmet back together with this magical vein of cortosis that I happen to have handily in my cave was ridiculous. Outside of all the contrivance.
Do you think they watch Paul Chatto's videos about them not having the gear stuff in it? And so they decided to have like multiple episodes, like a workbench that like you don't actually see what they're doing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I mean, when I look, and that's quite possible, by the way. But when I look at it all, and I think, just how many moments relied on because plot says so. Because that's basically this whole episode. Plot says so. So this happens. Plot says so. This gets a 3.
Ooh,
I've seen worse.
gave it a 3.
I saw Mono's
worse?
Hands of Fate.
Yeah, what's worse, Culture?
I just gave you one. There are many others. Most of them are like the B movies that were forced upon me when I was looking into like trying to be a filmmaker, which I gave up on quickly because the job sucks. But there's so much here. I think a 3. I mean,
Culture has lifted the average score right now to a 1.5. Yes, I am keeping track, folks. It's up to 1.5.
But the reason
you have a better review than Jonas.
We're being mean. Okay, Culture. We respect your opinion on this.
It doesn't
Culture,
sound like it.
one final question,
That's
though.
fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Were you shocked at all that when Darth Smilo wears his helmet, he goes full Kenoshi, like he can't see anything, so he's having to rely like Luke with the helmet on? Was that a shock to you?
What? Well, first of all, visibility in that helmet doesn't seem good.
Yeah,
I think
that's
she
the
was
question.
looking out of the mouth.
That's the point.
I
It was
think
weird.
I think that he's a liar because you would have to be able to have some other sense other than your eyesight to understand just how much you were going to get killed by everybody around you.
Smell. That's what we're going to find out in the next episode, Culture. He's going to be like,
okay, he's
I
Darth,
smell you.
Darth Smello instead
I'm
of
gonna disagree with-
he's Smello Red, not
I'm going
Smello
to disagree
Red.
with Culture on this one. They're literally referring to Luke in the helmet from the original Star Wars, where he can't see when he's actually using his
Trust
five
your
senses.
feelings.
Well, when he's using his 5 senses, he can't actually block the little droid that shoots him. When he puts the helmet on and he actually begins to use the Force and sense out through the Force, he's able to block it and he's much more hyper aware.
Okay. I mean, maybe you're right, but regardless, none of it made a lot of sense. And then when she put the hat on, I was like, okay, well, this is dumb.
That was just, it was literally just a Darth Vader key jangle.
I
That's
know.
all that was.
Yeah.
But like, you don't even like if you're going the route of her now, all of a sudden she's going to become the Acolyte or she's going to become a dark side user. You only got 2 episodes left, and we're going to need to dedicate at least one of those to some hefty flashback. So you don't have
Get
time
into
to tell
monologue
that
song,
story.
Marvin.
Okay, and I'm going to say it this way, and you're 100% right, but with only 2 episodes left, and the fact that even the crazy chick with the bad arts and crafts furniture in the background on the Mary Sue has already told us that she didn't plan on getting a second season anyway, so she put everything in this. So you have 2 episodes to unfuggle this, I'm going to say, because I won't say a bad word on your channel, Pro. But, there's no prayer here. How are you going to land this ship?
Well, here's a fun one for you guys. The theory we had that everybody had to die because otherwise the Jedi Council would know about the Sith, that's gone because now everybody knows about the Sith because they came back to the planet. So you'd have to be an idiot to not know, oh, that's a Sith. There's a Sith back here. So that's gone. They're just terrible, terrible writers. Even when we're like, oh, we know what's going to happen. It's bad writing, but here's what has to happen. No, they'll even defy that.
Ultimately, doesn't this just make the Empire look even worse with their genetic and their genocidal cleansing that they did? Because they would have had to go full genocide to get rid of all of this diversity that's in the,
yes, that and it neuters Anakin to, in every possible way. Marvin, let's get your numerical score. What's your score? You're going to be the last one to nudge this thing in a direction.
You didn't like my 3. I'm kind of sad now.
No, I'm honestly with you, Pro. I'm going to give this. There was nothing. This episode was nothing. Nothing got accomplished. Nothing got moved forward. The plot just stood completely still. We learned nothing new. We saw nothing new. That's why I have to go with you, and I have to give this a 0 because I'm giving it nothing because it was nothing. It was a waste of time. It's like she had 4 episodes planned out. And then they were like, can you give us 8? And she was like, I could try, because there's just nothing to this. And it's all leading up to the return of Mama Yass or Mama Horns or whoever is going to come back. But you're gonna get some kind of swerve where she's going to think she's extremely clever. And it's just nothing about this is written intelligently. Nothing about it is done intelligently. Kocho mentioned having to unfuggle the plot here. But what I always say about, a lot of companies that put on horrible product is the first step in resolving an issue that you have is admitting that there's an issue. And I'm pretty sure that Leslye looks at this and thinks it's perfection. So no, there's no hope in this ever getting any better. It's only going to get worse from here.
Go ahead, Culture.
Are you going to say that she needs a 12-step program?
Yeah, she could start by apologizing to everyone she's wronged, all the Star Wars fans.
That's probably the least of the totem pole of her grievances that she's caused.
Oh yeah, there might be some young actresses in Hollywood she should apologize to first.
I would say so.
She has said that it is like her greatest piece of art, and she's sad that it's being torn down.
And now she's mocking it. So she's mocking her own.
Yeah, the Joan of Art. Yeah. The Joan of Art.
So, folks, this is, according to our reviewers, this is the worst episode yet. It doesn't break Star Wars canon as badly as some episodes. But in terms of entertainment, this is the worst thing I've ever seen on Disney Plus. Maybe there's something worse out there. There is that the drag thing. I haven't watched that, but there is the drag thing that Disney promotes once a year. It might be worse. So, but 1.25 out of 10 is the official review score for The Acolyte Episode 6. I am told that this is the worst episode of the series. So we'll see if my source is on the money. Hopefully it does get better. And folks, because you all enjoy watching us suffer, I can confirm that we will be doing Agatha after parties in September. Just because, again, you all love watching us suffer. What's that, John?
Are we going to do Rings of Power? Isn't that in August?
We have to do that.
Why?
All right, folks, we will consider it. Going to be a lot of content there.
If you
I think I know
if you
who
think
we're
I
gonna have
got
to have on
fired up
board if we do
here,
it.
if you think I got fired up about this, just wait until I get my hands on Tolkien.
John, why?
Culture, you're going to have to show up every single time and say, "This shall not pass."
Yes. See, that's great. We got it. We've already got a bit.
Great. I'm gonna go full hobo Gandalf now. You guys are.
Yeah, right. No, but then halfway through, you got to come back and you got to be like, "I am Culture the even whiter, and I return to you now at the turning of the tide."
I don't know that I can get more white, but thanks.
All right, folks. Before we wrap, let's bring up these super chats. We've got Scooby Pup 01 for 10. Question for the panel: you guys think you'll have enough money to pay for all the psychology bills you'll have from watching this show?
No.
Let me tell you. I mean, I'm serious. If I were just a casual viewer who was not reviewing this, I would not have watched this episode. I would have turned it off in 10 minutes. It was painful to watch.
If I'm being honest, I wasn't doing this show right now.
Yeah, I'd be doing something
Honestly,
productive with my life.
Making the reviews, like the review that I put out today and like the other videos that I get to make on my channel, that is therapy for this, because it's just letting me process my anger in a constructive way and laugh with people about it.
Well, Scooby Pup, thank you for helping take the pain just a little bit away from us. It's nice to see you out there in the chat. Always a great supporter. Overthinking Star Wars for 5. We're talking this like the show is for adults. Greg Owen suggests it's literally for kids, and so should be judged versus Hannah Montana, etc. Thoughts? Maybe until the bad guy got naked, full frontal in front of the good twin.
Star Wars is meant for kids. Yes, this is not. I cannot imagine a child watching this. I mean, look, the only child watching that's happening here is Osha showing up at the Jedi Elementary School class to watch Padawan Chitara doing her training.
That would be the horny Jedi.
Hey, now wait a minute. That's a good point, though. So Chitara was training with little kids, right?
She was training with a bunch of teenagers, yeah.
But then she became the love interest of Good Twin.
Yes,
and in her 5'2"-ishness strength, despite training with teenagers, she was able to elbow smash a helmet into 1,000 pieces.
Also, can you tell me?
And I'll also say that.
Where's your leverage when you block like this? Okay, there's none.
There's none.
Right? It's like,
but it looks cool. So there.
Now I will also say that everyone keeps telling me every time I say that it's creepy that the grown woman was like snooping around this child. Everyone's like, but in all the materials that have come out, it says that she's 18. I'm like, yeah, well, in all the materials that came out about Kiadi Mundi, it said he was 70. So I don't think we can go by that by your own admission at this point.
Yeah, it seems like Pablo's not doing his job. Just saying.
Pablo hasn't been doing anything. I mean, look.
And then when she died, what was the first thing Squid Game said? She was a child
with an elbow of glory. SFX F13 or F314. I'm gonna get that right one day. Sabertooth Raptor. It's such a cool name. I can't hardly say it. For 5, if I watched the show, I would have given it a negative infinity and beyond. I'm adding the last part there. And folks, we are to infinity and beyond. Before we go, John, tell the folks what you've got coming out on the Trent Report.
I got to look into some Dragon Age Veilguard stuff. Apparently, they're putting pronouns into the game, and they just kind of confirmed that. So I'll be looking into that. Got a tip on the channel about that today. I have a video going up tomorrow morning regarding the latest viewership numbers on Doctor Who, and Russell T Davies is finally admitting that they are not good. Even though he's still trying to spin it by saying that they have captured the youth. I
did a video on that, John. Let me tell you something right now, buddy. They are not capturing anybody, including the youth.
Yeah.
So when the only season you're beating is the one that was canceled, you're in trouble.
I also recorded a video with a good friend, Jonathan Watson, who runs the OneRing.com, and I kind of talked about the latest report out of Amazon, or excuse me, out of Warner Brothers for War of the Rohirrim, and it is not looking good. It looks like they are following the Rings of Power playbook and basically doing a bait and switch with Helm Hammerhand. And instead of the story actually being about him, which is how Tolkien wrote it, it's going to be about his unnamed daughter, who is now going to save Rohan.
That's what I would do if I hated money. Culture, you still doing that game place?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you can check that out. Tomorrow we have this massive live stream. It's going to be super fun. We're celebrating over 1,000 subscribers. Thanks to all of you.
And how long, Culture?
4 days.
4 days, 1,000 subscribers. That's amazing. Thank you all,
This
folks.
audience. It's this
fantastic.
audience.
Yes.
It's this audience. It's WDW Pro. It's the Trent Report. It's this monster little monkey dude down here with his tuning.
Well, Marvin's channel is exploding as well.
I know.
Marvin is just taking off. It's because of that quick wit he's got.
He's smart. Yeah.
He's
He's got this weird sarcasm thing that works. But anyway, it's because of all of you. If you watch That Park Place, if you watch even my channel. By the way, I do have a channel I don't promote anymore because I'm all about the game thing. But you can check out, Culture Casino. I am on YouTube,
Everybody is subscribed to that channel, though. That's the culture. Everyone knows to be subscribed.
All I know is that it's really hard to get to 25,000 with YouTube keeps taking away 100 at a chunk. So I'm like, okay.
That's right.
Thanks. But I know this much. We have an amazing live stream tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And even without Jonas, I promise you, it'll be wonderful because I think the guy that I work with is not going to hang out with me tomorrow, which is fine. I mean, we got great stories and a wonderful panel. In fact, we have a story you probably haven't heard of yet. Plus, we got stuff to cover because this guy writes things and then we talk about them.
Fantastic. And Marvin, you are exploding on YouTube, and there are other things we're not yet ready to announce that you're going to be doing as well. But Marvin, tell the folks out there what you've got coming up on your channel.
Well, the first thing coming up is, I'm also part of that game place, and I'll be on that live stream tomorrow. And I'm sure at some point, Culture and I will be discussing that article John was talking about Dragon Age Veilguard, because Dragon Age is one of my favorite things. Culture, that's me telling you I want to do that video with you. But yeah, over there on Tooneytown TV
Space
and
Dave!
Tooneytown Wrestling. Space Dave, he might be there tomorrow.
I hope he's. I'm going to send him the link. If he shows up, he shows up. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But this is the guy behind the scenes. Not only that, we have a huge video coming out this week that Space Dave was involved in because there's some cracker stuff that's happening with The Sims. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Marvin. Promote, go.
So Tooneytown TV, we just passed 1,900 subscribers today, so we are on the road to 2,000. We are almost there. This channel is a month old, and we're already almost at 2,000 subscribers. So I feel beyond blessed and honored that people are giving me their attention in that way. Tooneytown Wrestling, we're at over 4,200 and growing. Once we hit 5,000, I'm going to stream AEW. Fight Forever, the video game, and you're going to get to watch my soul die or whatever's left of it. We've got our live streams. We did a live stream tonight at 8 o'clock. We did Toonie Talk Wrestling. We got Toonie Talk TV tomorrow night, live at 8 p.m. All are welcome. Please come on down. Enjoy. We got a panel that's going to be discussing a lot of the geeky news of the week. That's we got a lot of very, very, very exciting stuff coming up, both on these channels and beyond, if that can tease a little something for you guys.
Well, very, very cool, folks. Make sure you're subscribed to all of our guests. We are going to wrap it for today, but folks, on the way out, we need a favor from you. You don't have to do much. Just set your device and forget it, because we're going to send you to Vacation Radio. It turns out that getting a radio station on YouTube monetized is more difficult and complicated than we had ever anticipated. We don't want to get into the weeds and explain why. Just know that we're sending you to a premiere video tonight, not to the actual radio live stream, and that we're doing it for a reason that will hopefully satisfy YouTube. And then once that sucker is monetized, we can finally get people outside of our community hearing about it. YouTube has no incentive to send folks outside of our community to that station until they make some money off of it. They seem to be, capitalists. Who would have thought? So folks, set your device down, forget about it. It's going to run for about 4 hours, and it should satisfy our YouTube overlords and help Vacation Radio reach the heights that it needs to. All right, panelists, those of you who can, I have frozen shoulders, but those of you who can, wave to the audience. No outro today, folks. We will see you real soon. Have a happy 4th. Remember, keep all your fingers and toes. Later, everybody. Take care.